Welcome back to the show, podcast fans. This is the Zero to Here podcast. Tonight's episode was a very fun one. Finally got one of my good buddies, Alex D'Angelo, onto the show. He is a mortgage broker in Greater Vancouver. We go way back. There's a lot of stories. There's a lot of emotion in this one, and it was a lot of fun. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. I'd love to hear your feedback. Shoot us a review. Hit that subscribe button on your little podcast icon. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. On tonight's episode, Jojo Mason is back. I made a joke because Alex asked me if I use the same intro for every podcast. And I said, no, Alex, we have a different guest every podcast. Alex, how are you, buddy?
Very well, thank you, Denny. How are you?
How long have you been waiting for this opportunity?
How long has this podcast been around?
15 months.
Okay, I've been waiting 14 months. I heard Sean, he was your first guest, right?
Sean Francis.
Sean Francis.
That's correct.
I listened to Sean Francis's podcast. I'm like, you know what? I need to crack the starting lineup of Denny's podcast. Now, 15 months later, I have done something in your eyes to deserve this opportunity. So thank you, producer Carl and Denny, for having me.
Hold on a second. You've been on the podcast multiple times.
Yeah, but I'm always like this background character. Like it's like this mythical thing. Like I've been mentioned more on this podcast than probably any other third party, but I'm never there.
You've probably been mentioned more on this podcast than all other third parties put together.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm honored, but also like it's my time to shine now, guys. So
you're just happy to be in this spot.
I'm just happy to just be, you know?
So we had two unofficial podcasts with you, right?
We had the 4 Growler Challenge.
And then
we had the intro 4 Growler Challenge, right?
Yeah. And then we had where you interviewed Denny.
Did that ever get aired?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So I guess this is my third time on the podcast.
And yet you still bug me every week to come on.
Well, every week I listen to a new one. I'm just like, that was a great one. I have these things I want to talk about too.
Such as?
Man, whatever. I just want to be, you know?
We were talking before we started taping. Alex and I are very good friends, as most of you know, if you listen to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This is either going to be one of the absolute best podcasts of all time, like up there.
Yeah.
Up there, competing with Joe Rogan and Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
Literally. Or it could be the biggest piece of shit ever.
Titanic.
Yeah. There's literally no in between.
No, there's none. And it's funny how before we started this, Denny's looking at his scotch collection. And he literally says, I don't deserve the top shelf scotch that all his other guests get. So yeah, we're gonna be drinking some subpar scotch and talking about stuff, I guess.
I think that just is a pretty good
indication of your respect for me.
No, of our relationship. We like to bug each other, but we get along very well.
We do, Denny. Thank you, buddy.
Whenever people ask me about Alex, you Alex, I have a lot of friends named Alex, and it's really confusing, actually. Whenever they ask me about you, the first thing I say is, Alex is a man of many talents.
It's true. It is true. I like to think of myself as difficult to describe, to be honest with you.
Interesting.
Yeah, because there's a lot of I'm the whole Shrek onion thing. That is Alex. I think there's a lot of layers, you know. There's professional Alex, and there's Alex who likes to sing and dance, and there's Alex who likes to juggle and likes to go. There's a lot of Alexes.
How many people get to see the real Alex?
Ooh, that's a deep question right off the start. I would say very few, to be honest with you. The real, genuine Alex, I'd say very few. I'd say very close family and friends is about it. Because a lot of people, especially people who I deal with professionally, when they see kind of my Instagram and how I am on my Instagram, more lighthearted and joking. Being a mortgage broker, it's pretty hard to be lighthearted and joking. It's like being lighthearted and joking as a funeral director. It's a very somber industry. Talk about money, interest rates, payments, stuff like that. But I think that's why I love social media, because it gives you a chance to kind of show people a little bit, a peek into who the real Alex is. Also, I love how we're starting with me talking in third person. The real Alex.
Isn't that how you talk most of the time?
Yeah, I do, but I'm liking that I'm given a platform to do it on. Yes, I do.
It's interesting about this layers thing. Why do you think? What's the need for layers? Like,
Oh, wow.
why isn't everyone that ever meets Alex, John Smith meets you tomorrow morning? Why isn't all the layers out there already? Like, why is there layers?
I'd like to say, I think the cool answer would be like,
No, I don't want cool answer. I don't give a shit about the cool answer.
okay, I think the reason is because like I'm the type of person who becomes kind of who the other person wants them to be. So if it's like a business transaction, I'll be totally different than if it's a relationship, like personally or like romantically or like a friendship. Like a lot of times, like the non-real Alex, I'd say, is the person who I think the other person wants them to be. And I think honestly, that comes from working banking for so long. That's just like they just beat that into you. I honestly, and it's like hard to get out of that.
Have you ever explored the pros and cons of that?
No. I'm sure you have.
Would you like to explore the pros and cons of that?
Let's do it, man. I have a feeling there's gonna be more cons than pros, but
No, I'm just curious. Because like, if you're always adapting portions of your personality to fit into a situation, whether it be professional, friendship based, whatever the situation is, isn't there always some sort of assumption that you're assuming that this person over here wants to see something?
There is. But I think when you do it enough times, you get pretty good at that assumption. And I also don't think there's anything wrong with assuming things. I feel like it's a shortcut to like an end, to assume something.
I think assuming things is different than like intuition though.
Okay, then maybe let's say it's my intuition that lets me know who I think. And it's not like I'm walking around here like with like multi-personalities. I just think like the way I deal...
Because it's starting to sound like that.
Yeah, no, I totally. Like the way I deal with like someone at a grocery store versus someone who I work with versus someone who, like a family member, it's all, honestly, like with anyone, it's all different. Like you're not going to talk to me the same way you talk to your mom. Or do you? And if you do, it's pretty sick, man. Like if you're always that unfiltered, that's pretty like incredible.
I understand the need for like different levels of
filtration.
Sure. But at the same time, I don't like hiding things to like, I just don't like the idea of being or being a person that someone wants me to be.
Yeah, I know you don't.
I just don't think it is a winning like a winning formula. Here's a great example. Remember Jamie's Instagram stories this weekend?
Oh my God.
Carl, did you see them?
They are absolutely gold. Like probably one of the funniest stories I've ever seen on anyone's Instagram story.
Was that when he was drunk at the thing?
Yeah.
Yes, I saw them.
So
was it a PTA meeting?
No, it was like, what does PAC stand for? Parent something committee?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like a fundraiser for their school, basically. Jamie supplies beer. Obviously, he owns a brewery. So I guess like whatever, a portion of everything spent there goes to the kids. I don't know what they're fundraising for. Anyway, so at the end of the night, Jamie starts doing some Instagram stories. And like the first thing is him going outside and he's like, you want to know a secret for the end of these fundraisers? Always go check if there's any beer left in the keg. And he goes outside and like rattles the keg. He's like, I'd say there's at least 10 liters left in here.
Sounds like 30 beers.
And then like 3 stories later, it's just him with like a stupid smirk on his face, dragging the keg home.
On the street, you can hear him dragging a keg middle of the night on the street. Like, it's just so funny. And like, did you see him doing the keg stand?
Yeah.
Him trying to scuttle up the wall to do a keg stand. And this was a parent meeting.
It was a fundraiser.
Okay, I'm just saying. It looks like it was like he was dressed in a suit doing keg stands.
It did sound like it got pretty adventurous there. But my point of this story, or bring this up, is that I saw him today, asked him how his weekend was. We discussed. And he said he's never got more interaction from like friends and people on Instagram than his Portugal big trail race.
Yeah.
So he's like, this was number 2, like by a long shot. So the point of bringing that up was like, sure, being on Instagram, being a professional, self-employed person, You probably want to filter slightly just so you show like any potential clients that are watching you on Instagram see a professional version of you.
Correct.
But at the same time, the more you show of yourself, the more your specific demographic likes you and wants to work with you and builds a relationship with you.
True. And also by showing yourself in positions like what Jamie did, I think it genuinely builds some sort of awkward trust with people because they feel like they know you. You know, when you watch someone's Instagram all the time, like there's people who I've never met before that I feel like I know very well just by watching their Instagram stories. And
100%.
Like, yeah.
That's what social media is so good for, right? It's like a 24/7 resume where people can, let's say a client you did a deal with 4 or 5 years ago, or someone you never did a deal with. Watching on Instagram, they feel like they know you before they even meet you, or they feel like they're super up to date with you, even though you haven't seen them in 3 years or whatever it is.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
It's so powerful. It's so crazy.
So your question being why the layers? Let's switch the answer to maybe like a way. No, I'm gonna stick with my original answer. Like a way to like. It's just more making other people comfortable. It's not so much about myself, right? Like I want them to be like you always say to me that you think I'm a very social person, and I agree with that. I love people, but I think part of that is how I just when I interact with people, I like to make them feel good. And
I think your strongest quality that I have learned of you.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ready for the drum roll?
No, this is huge. This is something I'm jealous. Not jealous, but like I don't know. I admire. Is that a good word? I don't know. Maybe that's.
You've never said you admired anything about me before, so I'm very excited.
I completely disagree.
Let's hear it.
I admire how your old driver just continues to hit the fairway.
Nobody hits the ball straighter than me.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's fucking hit 10,000 balls, buddy.
Hasn't played golf in a year and a half. Goes out there on the first tee, pipes it 270 down the middle.
I don't miss the fairway. I don't miss the fairway. The Lord blessed me. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Anyway, the thing that I admire about you is, I don't know, just how good you are in social situations. It's crazy. It seems like you're more yourself. You're more outgoing. You're more friendly. You're more funny when there's people around.
Yeah. And you know what?
Like when it's just me and you sitting, drinking beer, watching golf or something.
I'm mediocre at best.
Yeah. Not even close.
But I think that honestly ties into exactly what we were just discussing. Like I'm basically being like who other people want. Like if we're in a social situation at a brewery or something, like who the hell wants to be with some guy talking about stock prices? Like I hate that guy in that situation, right? Like talk like someone who's like social and like lighthearted. Like I think that's a good way to be. Also, it helps that I like genuinely like people.
That comes across. That's the other thing I was going to say. That is, people can learn from, or like when people watch you, I watch you in social situations.
Thanks, buddy.
You show genuine care for what other people are saying.
It's because
so you'll ask questions and their responses you think about, and then you ask another question on top of that.
It's because I'm genuinely, insanely interested with how people think and what people do.
Weird.
People are so crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like how people interpret things, even what people do. Like if you think of someone who, like I was golfing with a guy who was an ambulance driver. Like the shit this guy did every day was mind blowing. And like he's just like, man, would you leave me the fuck alone? I just want to play golf. I'm like, what's the fastest you've ever been in your life in an ambulance? I'm like, do you ever fuck around, do illegal shit in traffic? So you know, we're not supposed to do that. I'm like, has you ever saved a man's life? He's like, every day. I'm like, wow. Like I asked this guy probably 1,000 questions. Scott. Probably never wants to play golf with me. He probably sees me on the tee sheet, like, get me the hell away from that guy. That's what I mean though. Like people's lives are so fascinating. And I feel like so many people are living these like little, especially in Vancouver. I'm not shitting on Vancouver, but live in these little shells. These are my friends. Like no one ever just makes friends by like not working with people or in some reason or going to school with them or like being around them. Those are most of your friends, right? People you work with or you have to be surrounded by. I like to go like friend searching, like who's interested, like who would I want to hang out with?
How do you do that?
Man, honestly, you think that there's a complex like answer to this, but like look at some of the friends I have, like guys who you were like surprised to hang out with, and it's just like people who I just like the cut of their jib.
Yeah, but where do you find jib? Great word. Where are you finding these people?
Like literally anywhere, like on this, like just like grocery stores. Maybe you're golfing with them. Like
you were gonna say on the street.
I was gonna say on the street, but like realistically, like it's like on the street type of situations. Like you can just meet someone, spark up conversation, and then you gotta be like for there has to be some sort of in like you want to go for beer or you want to go golfing or something like that. You can't just be like, hey man, like do you want to be my friend?
Does there have to be some sort of mutual like thing that you like?
I think
Does it have to be something in common?
I think so. Because like, look at who you hang around with. It's people who you have things in common with, right? Or something in common with. You don't hang around with people who you have absolutely nothing in common with.
It's interesting conversations though when you're very different.
Like you can be
It's a
very
different conversation.
Totally.
It's probably a more formal conversation.
Well, me and you are very different, but we like have things that we like in common.
For sure.
But I think that there has to be some sort of common ground. For me, traditionally with people who I've become really good friends with, it happens to be golf. Because I think when you're stuck with some dude for 4.5 hours, no matter who they are, like that ambulance driver, after the third hole, he wanted to play in a different group. Too bad, bud. You're stuck with me for the next 3.5 hours. So like you have to, that's why it's so good for business networking. Like I've met so many clients who like I really like working with from just golfing with them. Because you really like, you have to get to know this person. It's like if you're sharing a jail cell with someone, it's like impossible to not talk to them or ask them questions or learn about their life, you know?
Let's say there's 100 layers to Alex. How many come off in a 4.5 hour round of golf?
Ooh, I like how you went with 100 instead of 10. I'd say like 65 to 70. So I'm going to talk about like a lot of things that are personal, like
past relationships,
totally,
family,
and you know what? I'm going to find out every past relationship that person's been in. It's like your life left you, Greg, but why? Like, were you guys in love? Did you guys have kids? Did your kids love you? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to find out everything. And honestly, I think that's a great way to build rapport is to kind of overstep boundaries very quickly. I genuinely think that. Like, if you start asking personal questions that you actually care about the answer, I think that's a great way to build rapport. Artificial conversation, although it's pleasant, does very little.
100 agree.
I feel like you overstepping that boundary makes it so real, right? Because it's the honest truth.
Like, Carl, when me and you were driving to see Jordan's family,
Yep.
I was telling you about my stay in the hospital. That was a pretty honest conversation, wasn't it?
That was that was
and
really
your girlfriend,
honest.
that was like my second time meeting Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And like she knows like a lot about me. And you know what? I think that made me and Sam closer. I think that made me and you closer.
For sure.
I think like overstepping those boundaries of like comfort and social norms. I think that that's a good way to like really build rapport really quickly with people.
That was a fun weekend.
That was a fun
Probably made our winery visits more enjoyable.
Yeah, I jumped
even in that fucking winery in Unsworth. You were like digging deep into the guy serving us wine.
Was it the smaller guy?
Yeah.
From
Remember he was
Winnipeg?
a scuba diver and he was talking
scuba
about
diving, yeah.
jumping into the lake to fix the drainage.
He's got 2 daughters. Yeah, that was an interesting dude. Yeah, well, like if you're going to be in a situation with somebody, you might as well find out some stuff about them. And again, artificial conversation, it's pleasant, but it's like, it's cringy. I hate it. It's like, oh my God, did you see the sun today? It's like, yes. Shut the fuck up, man. Like, let's talk about some actual things that either of us care about.
Do you have any go-tos? Let's say awkward first introduction to someone. You're sitting across the table from them at like a mutual friend's birthday dinner or something. So you're stuck with them for like an hour and a half.
See, I don't even look at it as being stuck with them. I feel like I'm like blessed to be in a situation where I can find something out about some shit, you know? I don't like to think of it as like being stuck with someone. But honestly, sometimes people tell me to fuck off because like I'm just too much too quickly.
I don't think they say that though.
They may not say it like that, but like, you know, like they pull out their phone and start texting. Like you get the hints, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would say like the best way to open a conversation, what I usually go with is work. Because I love what people do. I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating how different people's lives are is what they do. Like what some person can do, other people like. I was at a client who's a doctor and he's like, I don't get how the hell you deal with this amount of money every day. I'm like, bud, you literally have your hands inside human cavities. Like, what are you talking about? You don't understand what I do. Like, you've held a heart before, like a beating heart. Like, I think what you do is a bit crazier, you know? But it's just like he sees what he does as totally normal. Totally. I see what I do as totally normal. And like and it's kind of like the beauty of people. Like, we all have different strengths and weaknesses. But like, yeah, some people have some crazy ass jobs. And I feel like that's a great way to open up a conversation with some people.
How do you...
Except for accountants. Hope Jordan Cahill's listening to that. I would never want to be an accountant.
That's the only job you never want to do.
I just couldn't be an accountant, man. Just like crunching numbers all day. Jordan's a great accountant, but I couldn't do his job.
He's very good with relationships.
Yeah, he's good with people, but like the actual accounting part, I just couldn't do it. That's the one job. If someone's like, I'm an accountant, I'm going to be like, yeah, I already have a friend that's an accountant. I don't need to talk to you anymore. It's like, please move me from this table. But no, I'd say work is like the best way to open up with someone. That's a great opening way because there's a good chance what they do is a hell of a lot different than what you do. Unless we're hanging out with a bunch of realtors and mortgage brokers. Then it's all pretty much just good shit anyway, so you'll be all right.
Realtors are a weird bunch, eh?
Man, the one thing I learned about realtors as a mortgage broker in the last 3 years, the difference between a good realtor and a shit realtor, it's just like there's no job that there's a bigger difference.
What's the number one difference you see? The first thing that sticks out.
Well, like just the level of experience and communication, it's shocking. Like to put this into perspective, let's compare this to another job. Let's compare cab drivers, okay? Pretend you had one cab driver who gets you really efficiently to your destination, same fare, just has good conversation, and they just do their job. And pretend you have another cab driver who can't get the car to park, does get at a park, and slams straight into a bus. That is the difference between a good realtor and a bad realtor. It's just like some of it is just shocking how quickly like things can be. Like I'm really against people who are like, you know, I'm buying $1 million house. I have an aunt who's a realtor, does 3 deals a year. I'm just going to use her. Like it's not that kind of industry, you know. Like you really should. I guess it's the same with what I do though. But like sometimes I'm asking realtors for stuff, and it feels like I'm doing their job for them. And then sometimes like I deal with people just like such a seamless like way to do a transaction. Anyways, there's a big difference between good realtors and bad realtors. But yeah, hanging out with a bunch of realtors is usually a good time because they tend to be interesting people. They tend to be people who are very extroverted. Extroverted?
Alex made an interesting comment. Alex McFadden. I was asking him like, why aren't there many mortgage brokers doing much on social media? Like it seems like every single realtor is trying at social media, which is great. Most mortgage brokers don't have social media or like are shit or don't post or whatever. He's like, he said, I think just naturally people that go into real estate are salespeople, are like friendly, are outgoing,
Totally.
are very, whatever the word is. I don't know what I'm looking for.
I know what you mean. Sales, like they're out there. They're like they're social.
Whereas mortgage people go into mortgages because they are introverted or like want to sit at a desk most of their day or whatever. And it's not the same type of person that would choose one.
It's a very different type of person. Like most brokers, or at least most decent brokers, are ex-bankers. And the bank, like a banker is like, you know, like think of the stereotypical banker, like crunching numbers and like, this is the dividend yield of the 5-year bond, you know, like stuff like that. Like, you know, like it's like not like super interesting people, which honestly makes my job pretty damn easy. Like the bar is so low to just be somewhat competent. It's incredible. Like people are just shocked because they're used to dealing with bankers. It's like, wow. It's like you can actually like enjoy this process. Like, man, I don't want someone getting a mortgage to feel like they're going to the dentist. Like being a dentist must suck. No one ever wants to see you ever. Never someone's like, yeah, can I go to the dentist and get my shit taken care of? And that's what people feel with banking. Like no one wants to go to their bank and like deal with this stuff. Like if you can make it just tolerable, I think you're doing a good job.
So you're saying there's a little bit of a difference between getting financing through a broker and a bank in a one-word answer.
Yes, there's a difference. And you know what? I can't even shit on the banks because I worked for banks for so long. And if I didn't work for banks and get just put through that shithole of a washing machine for 5-6 years, I don't think I'd be as good at what I do as I am. But man, yeah, going to a bank sucks, dude. It sucks. Like you're sitting there, it's like, you know, it's like cattle going to get executed. Like it's just everyone's in a line, no one's talking, it's kind of somber, no one's happy, smells like feet. Like it's just not a fun place to go. You know? Anyways, I like being a broker. Like I love so I've been a broker for 2.5 years and I have 100 more like friends who are like clients than I did at 6 years at the bank. Like almost every person I do deal with, I still message them about something once in a while, just because, you know, you deal with someone in this huge transaction. I'm sure it's the same with you. And like, you know, I end up golfing with a buddy who, how do you guys know each other? Oh, I was his mortgage broker in 2017. Now we're going playing golf or grabbing a drink or something.
It's pretty cool.
Building relationships is fun. I love building relationships.
the longer you get into your career, the harder it is to like stay in contact with people just because as that database grows.
I know.
But like, I want you to get into this soon. But what we're doing this year is 4 client events this year, which seems crazy for most people in our industry.
That's literally 4 times more than I'm doing. Wait, no, unlimited times more than I'm doing. I don't think I'm doing any client events this year. Maybe I'll do a client event this year. You have any ideas?
But you don't even have to start big, man. It could literally just be an email out to like your database saying, "Hey, I'd love to buy you a beer. I haven't seen you in a while. Come meet me at X place. I'm going to be there from 6 to 8. Would love to say hi." Like, it can be so simple. And if 15 people show up, amazing. It's 15 people you get to chat with and find out what their job, you know what their job is because you're there.
I know what their job is. I know what their credit score is. I know how much money they make. I know everything. I know what their dental records are. No.
It doesn't need to be like a fancy, big, organized thing. It's just like the purpose of it is to just connect with people.
Totally. And I think I do that more where you guys, obviously, because your database is so big, you guys do it with events, where what I do more so is more one-on-one, I think. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, man, like, maybe do you want to go do, like, whatever?
It's just not sustainable.
Totally. It's completely unrealistic. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy the hell of it, so I keep doing it.
Have a golf tournament. Start a golf tournament. How fun would that be?
The Alex D'Angelo Open?
Yeah. Get 32 people in there, whatever. It'd be so easy to get 30 people in there.
Totally. Everyone loves golfing. Some people suck at it, so they don't want to do it. I was talking to a friend of mine who, she's like, yeah, I just like driving the cart. It's like, fucking right, drive the cart. Gives a shit.
There you go. Get Big Shucker there to serve some oysters.
Love Big Shucker. He was on the podcast too.
He was?
Love
early on, man. We should have him back.
We should. He was good.
He's such a fun dude, man.
He's just like, he's like
dude.
that whiskey dude. He's like that dude from the Dos Equis commercials. Like the most interesting man in the world. Professional oyster shucker. He used to work in the NFL. Like, he used to work with Olympians. And
now works in craft beer.
And he has a big ass beard, drives like a 50s truck, like scotch and cigars. Like, who the hell are you, man? Like some sort of superhero of happiness? Like, shit. Some sort of masculine superhero. Yeah. The guy's dope. Anyway, sorry, I got off topic there. What were we talking about?
I don't know what the topic was.
Oh, you're talking about client events. I got 2 words for you.
Yeah.
Bouncy castle.
We've had bouncy castle.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, for kids.
Well, I went in the bouncy castle.
I'm sure Jamie would be like all over that.
At the end of the night, probably, yeah.
Dragging his keg into the bouncy castle. God, that guy's funny. Like, he literally is one of the funniest people I've ever met. Yeah. Anyways.
It's a different perspective on life, isn't it?
So interesting. He's another dude who's just interesting. He just goes by the beat of his own drum. Has he always been like that?
Yeah, 100%.
He just goes by the beat of his own drum.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you going to do today? I'm going to run 120 kilometers. Okay. What are you going to do today? I'm going to start a brewery. Like, he just does his own shit. I love it. Mm-hmm. Love having people like that in my life.
There's no fear.
No fear at all.
That's a cool way to live your life, eh?
Yeah. Like, I always fear, like, my biggest fear in life is the emotion or feeling of regret. Like, I wish I should have or I could have. I hate that feeling because in one side, it's like, it feels shitty. But then in the second, like on the other hand, it like kind of kicks in like how real time is. Like, time is something that you just can't get back. So if you ever regret, like, I wish time would have been different, like, that's a shitty feeling to have. So now I'm really trying to not waste any more days, especially in the last 6 months. Like, I would really change my mindset to like really try, like, put myself in uncomfortable situations, do stuff I feel awkward doing. Like, so many people are so worried. It's mostly shitty people, if I'm honest, but they're so worried about how other people perceive them. Is that a bad thing to say?
No, I like talking about that.
Yeah, like people, like shitty people, like they're more worried about how others perceive them than their own happiness, which I think is a really messed up way, because I think Gary Vee talks about it so much. Like, life is so temporary. When you start doing things for other people instead of yourself, it's a very bad strategy. Because you get to 70 years old and you're like looking forward to death because you've just been such a shit person for so many decades. So I'm trying to avoid that happening to myself.
It's interesting for a young person like you, though, you're 30, to already fear regret.
Well,
right?
Denny,
like, most people don't think about it until they're like 50, 60.
That's, you know why? It's because I had a pretty significant health scare in September. Mm-hmm. Saw the white light there and I was like, fuck that, not doing that. So like that really, honestly, that changed everything. It changed my career, changed how I interact with my family, changed how I interact with my friends, changed how I interact with my dog, changed like how I view romantic relationships. It changed everything. And honestly, like I think it's kind of a blessing for that to happen. Like people who face some sort of like serious adversity, they tend to come out stronger. And mine was like something like pretty serious health related. But then like you just become so much more like grateful.
Do you think that's actually true?
100%.
No. Backtrack. Do you think it's actually true that people that face adversity come out stronger?
100%.
Because I think most people do not.
Who face adversity?
Correct. I
No.
think most people crumble. I think it's like,
Okay, let's say overcome adversity.
okay, that's much better.
Yeah, if you overcome adversity,
But everyone faces adversity every single day of their life. But why are so many people so unhappy? Is because they're unwilling to face, or they're scared of the outcome of pushing forward, kind of thing, right? Like,
yeah.
why do so many people hate their jobs? They're scared to quit. They're scared to try something different.
Totally.
They're scared to go off on their own.
Totally.
Right?
But honestly, you can't really fault that too much because like fear, I think, is normal. Like people like to be comfortable.
It is normal. But
I just don't like when people complain about it when they're not doing anything to change it.
I just want to be careful about saying adversity equals overcoming.
Okay,
Right?
yeah,
Like,
you're right.
I
yeah.
think the overcoming part is extremely small.
So my adversity was almost dying. Overcoming was not dying. So that worked in my favor. But yeah, if I would have died, obviously, it wouldn't have been as good. But I hear what you're saying. Like not overcome, like making excuses or complaining or just basically shying away from challenges. It's not going to help. But people who face like real shit and they come out of it, like they're always stronger. Like whether it be like you were in like an abusive relationship, like or whether it been like you were like had a shit job, like any sort of adversity. Well, people might hate hearing that one, but any sort of adversity in some way makes you stronger. I really do believe that. And like I like learned that firsthand. So back to what we we're saying, I think that's why I'm more like gracious.
Again, like, I want to clarify. Because I find that a lot of people think when something bad happens, it's always like, why did this shit happen to me? It's so unlucky. Like, this is so unfair. Whereas it seems like you're taking it the other way and saying like, fuck, this is a great learning experience. I need to push forward.
Right. That's exactly right.
So that, to me, that mindset is rare.
Yeah. I think that like, you know how, like, I learned this in Psychology 101. People who, when something bad happens to them, they blame the outside environment. But when something good happens, they blame themselves. Like,
Isn't that the most common way to think, though?
That's Psychology 101. So yeah, I guess it is very common. But I remember hearing that and trying not to be like that. Like, I know you were huge on like owning everything, even things that are clearly not your problem.
I'm the opposite, though. Like, when something bad happens, I'm like, yeah, fuck, that was my fault. When something good happens, I was like, oh shit, I got really lucky.
Right. And like, it's worked out pretty well for you. So like, I think that's a good way to think, man. Cause like, one huge thing I'm really against is excuses. People have excuses for fucking everything. Everything, man. There's always an excuse why I didn't do this for some reason. Like, I think that taking ownership is really important because if you like don't make excuses and you hold yourself accountable, ultimately it's up to you to make things better. And also, if you fuck up, that's on you. And if you do good things, like you can be like, yeah, like I worked hard to do this. I think this is going to get pretty deep here. I think the fundamental two building blocks of happiness for human beings is one is gratitude, like appreciating everything and not taking anything for granted, whether it be, a glass of scotch, a day at the beach. Like, if you take nothing for granted, that's really good step number one. Step number two is self-awareness. How aware are you about who you are, how you operate, how you think, how you appreciate things, what you love, what you like? That's super important for happiness. Those two things, everything else in life builds off those two things.
How do you get to those two things?
Man, fuck it, I have no clue.
Especially growing up in Greater Vancouver, we're very, very privileged, right? We live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world. A lot of us that grew up here, like middle class or above, grew up wealthy. Your parents are buying you cars and shit like that 99% of the world doesn't have.
I don't know who the fuck bought you a car, but no one
bought me a car, but like a lot of people I know got bought cars.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. No one bought me a fucking car. My first job was working $10 an hour, bought a $7,500 car. That's 750 hours of work, man. It's a lot of fucking hours of the driving range. Yeah, that was a terrible, what a terrible way to spend $7,500. That was like a year's salary for me I spent on a shitty Accord or Integra. Anyways, yeah, we are privileged, but also like, how often do you hear people complaining still? They live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
No, but that's what I'm saying is how do you overcome that growing up in such a entitled area of the world? Because I agree. You said what? Self-awareness and
Gratitude, my friend.
gratitude. But how do you learn those things when you grow up very privileged? Like, okay, your family was not super well off, but very middle class, grew up in a great neighborhood in Burnaby.
Totally.
Had all the opportunities in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your mom is a great cook. She makes a delicious
pasta. My dad's also a great
everything.
cook. Yeah. Like my sister's a great person. My brother is an amazing human.
Fucking breaded cauliflower his mom makes.
Oh, deep fried cauliflower, man.
Unbelievable.
Fuck.
Bryn's a goddamn saint. Okay,
Yeah,
we should talk about her.
Anyways, I don't know, man. Maybe good parenting. I have no idea. I have no idea how you get to those stages, but if I could tell anyone like one piece of advice is to try to figure those two parts out. I don't know. For me, I feel like I always had those like 10%, but after September, after those health scares, it went up to like 90%. Both those two things. It was a real, like, you almost kissed the train. Like, you're really grateful that you didn't. Like, it's a totally different way of seeing the world. Like, every day is totally, it's just very different. Like, especially in the gratitude part. Because you're just like, anything that we have, we cannot have very quickly. And that's, you know what's fucking crazy? That's what, I'm a fan of old people. No one loves old people as much as I love old people. And I mean like old people, like geriatrics. And they are telling us all the secrets of the world, like younger generations, and we're just not listening. Like if you sit down with an old person and talk to them for an hour, they'll tell you some really important shit. Like you got to do this. And I think maybe part of it was me working at a driving range as a kid. All these old guys were coming in all the time like, dude, this is the best job you're going to ever have. This is the most fun you're going to ever have working. And I look back, like working at a driving range with all my best friends, that was pretty fun.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, maybe
that seems like such a negative outlook on life, man. Okay, some old dude is telling you that.
Well, let me give you a different example then. I'm just trying to say.
I fucking hate that when people tell you these are the greatest years of your life, man. Enjoy your high school. Such bullshit. Fuck you. Make your life whatever you want it to be. You're 16 years old. How is that the fucking possible best part of your life? It literally makes no sense.
Okay, well, maybe what they're trying to say is I hope you appreciate, even though you're making $10 an hour and like you can literally barely buy like a case of beer, like enjoy these times. Because I think there's beauty in enjoying different stages of life. Just like how
being like, what are you enjoying? So can we talk about that specifically? Everyone says high school, like all these old people say high school is the best time of your life, or being a teenager is the best time.
I have a family group chat and I just said the exact same thing you're about to say. I said, you know how people always complain about how hard being an adult is? It's fucking awesome. It's really cool.
Is it just the being naive as a kid?
I think
you don't really understand.
I think it's what they're jealous of is like the innocence of how the world is. Like you don't know about like murder and rape and disease and war and like these really shitty things in the world.
Yeah.
As a kid, you're just like, I'm going to see if I can ride this bike so fast and hit this bump so hard I get airborne. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's a great idea, bud. Like, I totally see that. And I think one part of me is like, I'm kind of still a bit childish today, but like those childish, like innocence, like that is a great way to see the world. And like, that's what kind of sucks now with one bad part of social media. I know you love social media is how
I never said I love it.
Okay. Well, you're a fan of social media.
I think there's a lot of opportunity on social media.
Okay. One downside of social media is how quickly and how much content kids are given and it desensitizes them. Like you see kids now, they're 10 years old doing shit a lot different than 10-year-olds did even 15, 20 years ago. Like the world now is very different. And it's like, you almost want to just hold on to that stage of like kids of like who they were like, yeah, man, play with your G.I. Joes and whatever, ride your bike and play soccer. Don't worry about makeup or, fucking vaping, wherever kids do these days. Sorry. Do kids vape a lot these days? Okay. Don't worry about vaping and stuff. Like, do like kid stuff, right? Because this is how I kind of think about it. Like life, if you think about it as like, some people have their favorite season of the year. Like I know you love summer. You love the warmth. Some people love spring. It's really fresh. There's a lot of good things about spring. Like, but then some people will like be like, well, I fucking hate the winter. I hate the fall. It's dark. It's cold. I hate the summer. It's too hot. I'm sticky all the time. You know what I mean? But like, if you love the different stages of your life the same way like you love all the seasons, you have to find happiness in in the difference of each one of them. You know what I mean?
Agree.
Like you have to find like happiness in being 10 and you have to find happiness in being 30. Honestly, I can't wait to be 80 years old. I think it's gonna be hilarious. Fucking no turning signals for me. Like I'm just gonna do, it's gonna be a crapshoot when I'm driving. Like I'm gonna be messing with people all the time. I'm gonna steal little chocolates and just pretend I don't know what I'm doing.
Have you actually thought about that?
Yeah, all the time.
You think about loving to be 80?
Yes, I love old people and I think it's gonna be amazing.
Other ages or just 80?
No, just old as hell. Like that's where I've like classify old as hell.
What do you look forward to at 80?
I think just not giving a shit about anything anymore, but still having money to do stuff I want to do.
But why isn't that happening today?
Oh, I very much enjoy being 30. But being 80, like you have so much more knowledge. Like if I keep getting smarter on the same trajectory that I have for the last 30 years, imagine how smart I'm going to be at 90. Like I'm going to know everything. I'm going to play Jeopardy and smoke everyone.
But isn't the fun part learning? Isn't the fun part like all those mistakes along the way that you're like, oh shit, that's right. I can do that.
Yeah, it is. I enjoy learning a lot, as you know. I like to read and listen to podcasts and just take in any sort of thing that helps me learn. But I think it'd be cool to kind of know a lot and also like have like old people seem like wise to me, you know? Like they say things that are kind of like make you think. The whole thing started is like the secrets to life is with old ass people and we should listen to them more. Seriously. They have good things
I don't disagree with that. I just think
like not just work.
You need to take it with a grain of salt. Like you need to
yeah, times are different.
Understand that their visions are skewed based on the time that they grew up in.
Totally.
Right?
But the fundamental ideas are still very much the same.
Some of them.
The base ideas.
Some of them.
Yeah. So yeah, I like old people. They bring me happiness.
Do you think about retirement?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time?
Like I love
like
working.
What about it?
Oh man, when I was like 22, my idea of retirement, as you know, my mom's from a small town in like northern Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
very small town, simple place. And like I always thought retirement would be so fun. Just when I was this like younger, I wanted to just have two things. I wanted to have a riding lawnmower and I just wanted to drink dark rum all day. Just on my lawnmower, just waving at people, just cutting the grass over and over again. I thought that was the definition of retirement. Cut my grass every day on a riding lawnmower and have a little sippy of dark rum. And like now as I get older, it gets a little bit more complex.
What are you up to with the grass that's fucking growing that much you need to cut it every day?
I just like the idea of like riding a very small tractor.
Oh, so it's just the enjoyment. There's no function involved.
Well, like you could like do like in the winter, you can put like a little snow plow on it or move some rocks around or something. But like, yeah, just having like a really small tractor. I think that'd be a ton of fun. Like it's like simple. Like, I like the simplicity of retirement. Not having to worry about like the things that some people have to worry about now. Like you don't have any mortgage payments anymore. You don't have, to worry about raising kids. Like you've done it all and now you can just really enjoy yourself. Like I'll just hit golf balls into a lake all day.
Does that stuff stress you out?
Mortgage payments?
No. You talking about like simplifying life. So like you mentioned mortgage payment. Does that stress you?
Wait, sorry. I'm not understanding the question. You mean like does simplifying
So you say like what you're looking forward to in retirement is simplicity. And the one example you gave was not having to worry about mortgage payments. So does that kind of stuff, mortgage payments, whatever stresses that are in your life now that maybe would go away when you retire or when you're older, does that stress you out?
Does those current things stress me out, having them currently, you mean?
Yeah.
So let's say mortgage payments, let's just change that to adult responsibilities. Do adult responsibilities stress me out? Not really, but I think that when you're old, you kind of almost go back to a stage of like being like pre-18, just not having to worry about anything. Everything's taken care of now, I think there's peace and solace in that.
Doesn't everything get harder?
Well, you're dying, which sucks, but
when you're
like
80, okay, so think about going to the grocery store right now. You're just like, oh shit, I need to go to the grocery store. Whereas when you're 80, it's a full day event. You have to take an entire day of your life.
Why?
It takes like 14 to 15 minutes to put your pants on in the morning.
Dude, I'm not talking like dying. Like I'm talking like like 80, like Dick Van Dyke 80, still dancing and stuff, you know? Not like yeah, I don't want to be in a retirement home, but I want to have my life taken care of. Like I look forward to that, like a simple life. I'm a simple dude. Like I'm super simple. I like very simple things, and like I look forward to being able to enjoy that simplicity.
Why can't you live like? So what I'm trying to understand.
Why
is
can't you do it now?
why not live that way now? What is unsimple about the way that you're living now that stresses you out, or that you would like to see get less?
Well, it's not so much that. It's more that I think back to what I was saying before is like enjoying the different stages of your life. Like now is a stage, like now I'm in the spring of my life, and there's stuff you do in spring, like, you know, plant flowers and stuff like that you're not going to be doing the dead of winter. Like, you know what I mean? Like enjoying the different stages is important.
Mhm.
So I think enjoying being people who regret a stage or don't look forward to a stage, again, I don't think they're being grateful of like the fact that they're being able to enjoy this part of their life. And two, it's just kind of like a bad strategy for happiness, regretting something.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I can't, I don't want to work for the next 30 years. Like that's a shit way. Like to look forward to those years being over is not a good idea. Just to kind of enjoy every step, I think is the best strategy. So that's kind of what I'm trying to say. When I am looking forward to being 80, I'm also looking forward to being 40. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to being 60. Like every stage is going to be good. Knock on wood, I don't fucking die, man, but like I think everything's going to be good.
And you consciously think about how your life is going to look different at different stages, at different ages.
Self-awareness.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, gotta be.
Have you ever thought about that?
But it will, though, because of your experiences that you carry with you, right? It's going to shape you and all that changes. You're not going to be the exact same person.
No, I agree. I think you totally keep growing. Can you drink some of that? Because contrary to what you mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, this is my favorite scotch of all time
What is it?
that I've currently had. This is Nika Coffee Green. It's it's not scotch, sorry. It's a unbelievable Japanese whiskey. This is my favorite one.
This is your favorite?
This is my I'd say there's 3 up there that are borderline favorites, and this is one of them.
But the Japanese ones are your favorite?
Japanese, for the price point, is better than scotch to me. It's smoother. Like,
That's
I think
a bold
this is
ass
90
statement.
bucks.
It's a bold ass statement.
To get a scotch that is that good, like that Balvenie 14 up there, I think that's 129, and this I think is 90.
Yeah, it's
To me,
delicious.
they're on par.
Is it smoky?
No.
Do you want to try it?
I'm good.
I have a weakness for like scotch and like good whiskeys. Like I really think they're the most delicious things that the good Lord has ever put on this planet. Like, I think like it's like as good as it gets. It's like drinking angel tears. It just tastes amazing. It's complex.
But does it taste amazing? Or do you get to a point after drinking a lot of it?
Huh. Oh, Carl. No, I think it tastes amazing.
Because you give that to a kid, right? It's going to
Yeah.
spit it out, right? It's not a...
Well, kids have pretty fucking shit palates.
For
to be honest
sure.
with you, right?
But even
Like
most
chicken nuggets
adults...
and ketchup, really? Like, come on, bud.
You remember the first beer you ever had?
Yeah, mostly
awful.
Canadian.
Molson Canadian? Okay.
Really? I thought it was amazing.
Really, eh?
Maybe, but I'm like half Italian, half Nova Scotian, so I'm pretty predisposed to liking
How
alcohol.
old were you?
When I first had my first sip of beer ever,
First beer.
first full beer.
Yeah, full beer.
Well, Bern, my mom, when she used to watch Hockey Night in Canada, she'd always like give me like this last little part of her beer, like probably one
Warm,
shot.
foamy shit. That's
It was Coors Light too. Seriously. But for some reason, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the scarcity of having it, but like I enjoyed it.
Maybe she was trying to scare you off of it.
first full beer. How old? Do you remember the exact?
It was a
day?
Molson Canadian. Me and my good friend Dash, I'd say probably 13 or 14.
I had my first beer on Vinny's bachelor party, I think. I think it was Vinny. I think it was 15.
What's
Anyway.
the point of the question though? Like what?
No, I don't know. We're just talking about beer. Someone gave me a Budweiser on his bachelor party, and it was fucking disgusting.
Really?
Oh, I drank like half of it. And I'm like, I can't.
I was
choke
totally
this down.
opposite. I thought it was like the most amazing tasting thing ever. And it was a Molson Canadian. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was. Yeah, I've always thought beer tasted good.
I thought it was gross. I don't know. Well, here's a good segue. Where's the segue going, Alex?
What was the thing that you asked me last night? What's one of the things I wanted to talk about?
company, but let's hold on. You've mentioned a
Wait,
lot of
my
times.
company? Or no,
You've mentioned a lot of times what happened in September. Why don't you talk about that?
like basically I just like had a health scare and I was in the ER for like 4 days and
Did you see it coming? Like looking back,
no.
there was no physical symptoms at all leading up to it.
No, it was just
Nothing.
like it was just like a sudden thing, and then, like honestly, when I went to the ER, I thought I was gonna be going that like leaving in like 20 minutes. I thought they're gonna give me like a pill or something, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, yeah, you're gonna be here for like 3 or 4 days." I was just like, "Shit!" And then like also the whole experience, like the ER is a fucking crazy place. It is mental. There's people dying around you. There's people screaming. Like I was on a bit of drugs and I was going around at night looking at people's like charts, literally just like, what is wrong with this guy? Like there was some crazy shit, man. Some old
Are
lady.
you allowed to do that?
I don't know. No, they sent me back to my bed. So I'm not allowed to do that. But I saw like an 80-year-old lady punch a police officer. It's insane. It's just like I have nothing but respect for the nurses of the ER. If there's one person in this world I respect, ER nurses. But I think that kind of changed me a bit. But more so like the whole like really realizing like how fragile life is.
Mm-hmm.
And like that really puts you like gratitude. Like you have no idea how much gratitude you have. Like it's crazy to think about. Because when you're sitting there and thinking of all the things like you kind of wish you would have done, it's like a very sobering moment. Like it's very much like
So at 30 years of age, you were sitting there thinking of things you would have done,
yeah,
should have done.
I was pissed
Like
off.
what?
Well, my dad's from a town just outside Rome, and I'm like, how have I never been to where my dad's from? Like I've spent my whole life going back to Nova Scotia and back because I guess it's closer and a
We
bit.
should go.
Yeah, like let's
September.
fucking do it. Let's
When?
do it. I don't care. I'll go anytime. I
Okay,
need to
September,
go.
we're going. 2 weeks.
I want you can come for 2 weeks. I'm going for a month. I'm gonna go there.
Okay.
The first
I'll
thing
go
I'm
for 2
gonna do
weeks.
is I'm gonna go to a winery. I'm gonna get a big ass barrel of red wine. It's gonna cost like 150 euros. Then I'm gonna go to the mountains and get a whole leg of prosciutto and my own little carving knife. I'm gonna make the most epic charcuterie board. I'm gonna watch soccer nonstop and just eat and just enjoy my life. Can't wait. I've been thinking about this like almost every day since I've been out of the hospital. If you don't want to do that, fine. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ride a donkey.
Well, I don't know if I just want to sit in the mountains for 2 weeks. But
No, we won't. We could do.
I
other
would like
stuff.
to drink wine and
a
explore.
barrel. Totally. I cannot wait. That is not, and like I'd love to go. Like obviously I'm a huge soccer guy. Like my whole life, I would love to go to like Europe and watch some like English matches, some Italian matches. Like go to Germany. Like just taking like different cultures. Like
I say
travel.
we go. If I go, I think the max I would be able to go in the fall was for 2 weeks. If I went for 2 weeks in the fall, can we be in like Italy for 1 week and then explore other than 1 week?
I'm the
Go to England for 2 nights.
Totally.
I would love to go to Croatia. Croatia is like very high up in where I want to
I'm like the easiest going dude in the world, man. I'll do anything. Like it's like, hey
Barcelona
man,
was stupid cool
I'll go.
too.
Yeah, and like every place I go, all I can think like name any city in Europe. Go right now.
Brussels.
Brussels? The fuck? Is that Belgium?
Yeah.
I guess I'd go eat a bunch of waffles. But my point is, every city I have a food that I want to eat if I'm there.
Are you surprised that I surprised you?
Yeah, man. I honestly did not see that coming. I thought you were going to say Paris. I was going to be like, cheese! But like, you're like...
I've heard Paris is overrated, so that would never come to mind.
Anyways, any city you can think of, like there's a food that I want to... Even in North America, there's a food I want to go to that city and I want to eat there.
Sorrento.
I'd probably be some sort of seafood.
Poland.
Right on the bay.
Poland?
Poland's a country.
Oh, buddy. If it like go to Warsaw, Poland,
Mm-hmm.
I'd fuck with borscht
Okay.
and I'd fuck with pierogies really
Now
hard.
we're talking.
And like with the pierogies, I am not.
They
gonna
make
go, I'm not going to go on a
good
diet.
sausage too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The
Like,
deli.
I'm not going there to diet. Like I'm dipping those in butter. I'm coming back. Like you cut me. There's butter coming out.
What do the Polacks drink most? Vodka?
Oh, hold
Vodka.
on. You can't say that.
What?
Isn't he like half Polish?
Oh,
I am half Polish. No, I know vodka, but like, is there something else? Do they
we're
drink
just
a lot
gonna
of
skip over
wine?
the fact
I
that
don't know.
Polak or
What?
He's worried about your derogatory statement towards my people.
Polacks?
yeah, it's a bad one, man.
I'm Polish.
Okay, I guess you can say it. I didn't know this. You see me
He's
call
got the,
out
he's
so
got the
quickly.
pass.
I
Yeah.
was like, my eyes were like, holy fuck. Anyways, cool.
Can I not say that?
I don't know. Did we struggle? I don't know. I have to
Yeah,
look in
Polish
history.
people.
I guess we were in a country for a
Your
bit.
whole country was killed by the Nazis, man. It was taken over in like 3 days.
It happens.
Yeah, spades.
How is that? Sorry, I don't understand how that's derogatory.
Polacks like it's a derogatory term for Polish.
It's just the short version of Polish.
It's Pole. They call us Poles.
It's like calling
That's the short form.
Polacks is
derogatory, man. Yeah, like it's like calling an Italian person like a wop, or like obviously there's some other words for races that are bad too that you shouldn't say. But Polak
like a
is
manja
on that
cake.
list.
That's what all the
Manja cake's for white people.
that's what all the Italians call me.
Yeah.
What?
Manja cake.
I've never heard
It
that.
just means eat cake, just for like white people.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It makes no sense, and it's not even that derogatory. It's more of a
That's what
joke.
Italians call white people.
Anyways, I don't want to go down this word of like racism because remember I said at the beginning.
Sorry, I had
what
no
do you know
idea
what I'm
that,
talking about?
was like derogatory.
It's okay, Carl. Just edit it out.
No, this is staying.
Okay.
This is learning experience.
Yeah, I didn't, first of all, I didn't know. Second of all, I'm 50% Polish.
Okay. Fair enough.
You're good.
So good.
You're good.
You're asking me about
I
alcohol?
fucking love pierogies, man. I'll eat pierogies all day.
You know what's good? Big? Moonshine, like Polish moonshine from like
Plums. Isn't
plums
it?
and stuff. Yeah.
Plums.
Huge.
Interesting.
And people just make it in their own houses.
Yeah. So I as
Have
much
you
as
ever made that? Or your parents? Or
No, but I've
family?
had some good
Yeah?
stuff. It's like 60%.
You've been to Poland a few times, right?
3 times.
Yeah.
I think I'm going back 4th time this May.
That's right.
Yeah.
so along
That's
with
awesome.
eating, I'd like to drink something in every place I go.
100%.
I love eating and drinking.
Like, what is Italy famous for? Wine and limoncello.
No, man. Fucking limoncello. Talking about like booze?
Yeah. Wine.
Okay,
Obviously.
so let's go like what kind of wine? Like, so there's some pretty nice wines from Italy.
Well, there's lots. Yeah.
Yeah. Wine. Okay.
Red wine mostly, right?
Yeah, red wine. Actually, there's some good white wines from Italy. But yeah, red wines and fucking art. Like cars.
So I was talking about wine.
Oh, just food and booze?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was
so
talking about
like,
booze.
so for booze, yeah, red wine would be the
Food
most.
is easy.
Yeah.
Pasta.
Pizzas from Naples, seafood, yeah, I'd go and eat everything. I'd come back 300 pounds.
Wait, you've never been to Italy?
Never.
Top 3 cities to visit in Italy. Go.
What do you mean? I've never been there. I just said that.
Yeah, but you said you have a list of where you want
Oh
to
yeah,
go.
totally. So I'd go to.
Where you want to go.
Well, I want to go to Rome just because that's where my family's from. Is just outside Rome. So I'd love
What
to
are
go
you
to
going to
Rome.
do in Rome, though?
Fucking eat pizza and watch Roma play. Like,
Are you going to do the touristy shit or no?
no, not at all. I'm gonna
You
make
don't want to see
friends.
the Colosseum? It's pretty cool.
No, I'll take a picture. And I can look at a picture of that.
Would you go to Vatican? I think,
I have mixed
honestly,
feelings on the
I
Vatican.
went there one time and I would love to go back. I would want to appreciate it more. It was so much more spectacular than I even imagined it could possibly be. It was dumb.
I think it's crazy
Like
to think about.
you don't understand how crazy, like St. Peter's Basilica by itself is like the most ridiculous architecture of all.
Yeah,
like
old
dumb.
shit is crazy, man. Like it's something like some of those places in like like in Rome, for example, like the Colosseum, hundreds and hundreds of years old.
But it's half broken down. St. Peter's Basilica is like stunning still.
Yeah, it's
How old is it?
It's owned by the church, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, it's very, very old. I would like to. So I'd like to go to Rome. I'd like to go to Naples or Napoli because that's like the birthplace of pizza. I think it's the most like that is my number one food in the world. Is like that style of pizza,
Mhm.
and I feel like number 3 would probably be like somewhere like I'd like to go to Florence.
Mhm.
Also
I didn't go there. Want to know my 3 favorite places?
in the world.
No, in Italy.
Let's hear them.
Probably number 1. I can't pick 1, 2, 3, but I'm going to say the top 3. Rome was there, and I'm going to bring in the Vatican City to Rome because it's very close.
Okay.
Sorrento was super cool, and Amalfi Coast was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I went to 2 or 3. No. Cinque Terre is the other one on the other side. Amalfi Coast was better. It was very cool. Amalfi Coast is somewhere I could go and stay 10 days. Like there's really cool restaurants and hotels, and it's on this like crazy cliff.
Yeah.
And to walk to the beach, you walk down like 400 steps to the beach. Like it's crazy.
When you're saying these things, like I'm picturing in my head, and all I can think about is how I just want to eat everything. I just want to eat everything.
The food is so good. It's crazy. You go to like some little random restaurant on the corner that like looks like a hole in the wall, and there's 4 seats inside and a patio on the street, literally on the cobblestone street that is like 12 seats. And you go in there and order a pizza, and it is literally the best thing you've ever had in your entire life.
It's because of, man, the culture is so different. North America, it's all about all these fucking sauces,
Yeah.
and about how like quantity
It's
over
simple,
quality.
totally.
Simple and good ingredients is the way to go. I love it. Like look at like anything, like the like pastas of Rome. Like look at carbonara. 4 ingredients. And this whole thing is one of the most like amazing dishes to ever be produced by mankind, in my humble opinion.
Done well.
Done well. Like why do we need all these like
It's
100?
done so shitty in a lot of places.
I believe it. I believe it. Anyways, I'd like to go to Italy. That's like that's one of the things I was thinking about when I thought I was going to die. I wish I would have gone to Italy.
Can we go September?
Yeah, man, fuck it down, man. I'm just like super down to go.
Yes.
Yeah, like I'm in. Because I will not ever be in a point where I think I'm dying again and have that same amount of regret. I hated it. I don't ever want to feel like that again.
Okay, can we go back to that?
Okay.
Because we really took a big sidetrack there.
That's on you, player, man. That was on you. So I came
basically what we started with was September
21st, ended the hospital.
came up out of nowhere.
September 25th, I'm out of the hospital.
You thought you were going to be in there for 20 minutes. They told you it was going to be 3 or 4 days. You really appreciate ER nurses.
Yeah.
You saw some crazy shit.
It's crazy.
And fucked with some people's charts.
I didn't fuck with them. I just looked at them. I wasn't changing anyone's medication. So I got out. The recovery was like a couple weeks. And man, seriously, like talk about self-reflection. Holy shit. Like you really look back on things. Like it's the best thing that could happen to anyone. I'm telling you.
While in hospital, you're doing this?
No, when I got out, I spent the next week at my parents' place because they live just down the street from you. So I was just like kind of bedridden.
Can we get to that in a second?
Sure.
Can you just explain a little more like what the hospital experience was like?
Okay, so like for me personally, like my experience. So first of all, I think it's outrageous how long an ER wait is. Like I think like I'm basically
it's so silly.
I'm like I feel like I'm dying, right? I feel like I'm being sawed in half, and I'm there for 3 hours, and it feels like the longest 3 hours of my entire life. It felt like 3 days. And just when I was about to go in, I told this to Carl. I was the next person in line. I'm just like, oh, they're gonna give me some painkillers. By the way, shout out to painkillers. Fuck. Holy smoke. I've never like done like drugs like that in my life, and those things they work.
What did they give you?
They gave me hydromorphine. It felt like someone putting a warm blanket on you when you're on fire. It's fucking crazy. It's an opiate. It's like heroin.
It's higher than T3.
Yeah, bud. It's like,
I don't know, man.
It's like heroin. It's like a powerful opiate. So it's like morphine. It's morphine. So
what's higher than T3?
T3 is just Tylenol with codeine in it.
I know. Isn't there another one?
Are you talking about like Percocets and Oxycontins here?
Oxycontin. That's
so those are also on the same wavelength as morphine. Those are opiates. They're the same. Like heroin's an opiate, fentanyl's an opiate, Oxycontin's an opiate, morphine's an opiate. It's whatever the fuck it does. It just makes you feel nothing on your body. So my suggestion to everyone is to not do those because they feel fucking great. Especially when it feels like you're being cut in half, and all of a sudden they just put one needle in you, and all of a sudden your body feels totally fine.
Have you had any of those before?
No.
So that was the first time.
Yeah.
Was that fucked up?
Yeah, in that moment, I totally got why people have drug problems. Yeah. Like I totally get it. Like you feel like you're on fire, and it just feels like someone's extinguishing the fire.
I watched
within 3 seconds. It's just like, holy, this is lovely. I've been in pain, like excruciating pain. The reason I went to the ER was because I was losing consciousness from the pain I was going through. And then if someone just put that out like that, holy shit, those things are effective.
I was watching some documentary on Netflix recently. It was called something like, I don't know. It was like a drug scene in the US. So it was like explaining how drugs come into the US and like how they're distributed and like the tracks that they go through. It was pretty cool. They were talking to like a few people in Miami who are heroin addicts, and the one thing one of the women on there said that was like stuck with me was the first time she used an opiate, it was like this crazy euphoric body high.
It's like they say it's like 10,000 orgasms.
And every single day, all she's doing is trying to chase that same feeling.
Yeah.
She's like, it's never been the same since. I'm assuming it's never going to get the same, but all I'm trying to do is try to get to that feeling again. Because it was the most amazing feeling I've ever felt in my entire life.
I feel like we're going down a weird avenue here, but I gotta say, like, I gotta agree with her. Like, it feels really nice to be on heavy drugs. Like, it's a great feeling. that's why, like, after that moment, I knew, like, I'm never going to touch a drug like that. Like, fuck that stuff. Like, I could totally see how that could ruin your life. Because it feels like something like I've never felt before, especially coming off that much pain. Anyways, to say, so the drug part, that was one part of the hospital experience.
Can you try to explain that a little more? Because I'm assuming that most of our listeners are not heroin addicts.
Well, fuck, God willing, man, that'd be a shit.
I'm not sure, but I'm assuming. Let's say like most people out there have experienced 3 or 4 whiskeys or like 6 beers or
It's
something
not,
like that.
you can't compare it to liquor. You can't do it.
Can you just give me some sort of definition of how they're different? Because after you have like, there's obviously a deep end that you like get to this apex for liquor and it just goes straight downhill and you feel like you're going to throw up. But like 3 whiskeys for me is just like super mellow, feel very chill.
Dude,
I feel like
totally,
very myself.
It's totally uncomparable. Like in terms of strength, it's totally like, it feels like your body doesn't even exist and you're just a brain with 2 eyeballs looking around. Like there's nothing.
You don't even feel anything.
You don't even feel anything. It feels like your whole body physically does not exist.
So why is that desirable though?
I don't fucking know.
Because people walk around like you said, like the whole pain thing, right? Like some people are just in pain from just not taking care of themselves or whatever, right? So just anything to have that go away is gonna be so addicting.
Yeah, I felt like I was on fire, and it's like someone put out the fire, and all of a sudden your body doesn't exist anymore after feeling like you were literally on fire. That's not like a hyperbole. That's not like an exaggeration of what it felt like. I was on fire, and then all of a sudden, like that's just like gone in a second.
Do you think it's more a physical relief or a mental relief?
For me, it was definitely physical. I wasn't in any mental pain. I was just in physical pain. Like my mental, I was just like, I guess I was sad because it was so much pain, but I wasn't trying to escape anything, you know, like I'm a happy dude. It just was in a lot of pain. And that was like a super effective method to stop pain.
Were you asked if you wanted to receive this type of drug?
That's a good question.
Because that's interesting to me.
I think so, yeah.
They're just like, oh, he's in pain here. Give him this.
No,
shit
they ask
that
you,
is
they're like, do you
super
want something
addicting."
for the pain? And then they say like there's options. I think one of the options was like, do I want? Yeah, there's a couple options. I'm like, whatever the strongest one is, like I'll take that one, please. And they're like, okay, it's like this is what it is. Like it's like I think it was like 2 milligrams.
So they do explain it to you.
Yeah, and
Like this is an opiate.
yeah, they say like, this is morphine. They say how much they're giving you, and they gave it to me. It was like a needle in my arm, and it's interesting because when I was in the hospital, I had one visitor. You fuck didn't visit me. Carl, you didn't visit me.
You
either.
didn't tell me you were in the hospital, so you got out.
Okay, well, I was in pretty rough shape, but I had one visitor, and this one visitor
What?
was a girl I went to university with, and she had been in a couple car accidents, and she is on opiates every single day, and she cannot live without them. Like I mean, like strong ass shit. And I was talking to her about it, and like she's like every single day. Because at the end of it, I was taking the pill form of these things, and they were just fucking rocking me, like just like totally overwhelming. And she was taking like 4 of these a day, and she's like 5'3", 150, like 15 pounds. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds, and I was like, her tolerance was like 100, like insanely higher than mine was for these drugs.
That's the one thing with opiates, right? You're like your body gets used to it so fast, so like you see more and more and more.
Totally, because like what I was doing, like she's half my size, and she took essentially 400% per day of what I was taking when I was in the hospital. And this is just her just to live her
And
life.
she's functioning, right? Like doing everyday
totally
things.
working,
yeah.
like driving cars. Like I'm sitting there on planet fucking Z trying to like get through this, but like there's no way I'd be functioning with that amount of drugs. Anyways, the hospital experience in itself, it was my first time there. It was very, very, very interesting.
Just for the record, I would like to point out that you texted me the day that you were leaving saying, hey, I just spent 4 days in the hospital.
Hey man, I was all fucked up.
So don't fucking try to blame me for not coming to visit you.
Oh, you know who else came?
You told me as you were leaving.
You know who else came? Michael Bell came. He was my only other visitor.
So you texted him and not me?
Yeah, he came. He was on his way to golf tournament. Mike Bell was on your podcast. He was on his way to golf tournament. He's like, hey, I'm going to come visit you. When I was there, I gained 25 pounds and I didn't eat anything. Think about that. Wrap your head around that. It was all from the IVs being in me. 25 pounds of water weight. I'll show you the picture. I look like Santa Claus. My belly's this big. And
Really?
Mike Bell came to look at my belly. Yeah, it was hilarious.
What's in the IV?
It's like,
It's like electrolytes and like
yeah, it's like saline. And it's like some sort of saline solution. So it's like water based, obviously, with like potassium and like some other shit in it. So basically, I was going through one of these things every 4 hours. So I was there for 4 days. So 6 of these a day times 4. So I went through 24 liters of this shit, of like saline through my body in these 4 days, and I put on 25 pounds. I went in there 200 pounds. I left 225 pounds, and I didn't eat a fucking thing, not one thing.
Were you like super dehydrated when you got into the hospital? Was that part of it, or?
Yeah. I was dehydrated and like, yeah, it was just basically like to flush out my whole system, and like the first one, it's funny because when you're dehydrated, I think a medical professional might disagree with me on this, but it feels like the first bag just goes like just like your body like sucks it up. And the second one, but then after a while they start going really slow.
Right.
But anyways, 25 pounds and just water weight. Yeah, the hospital's crazy.
That makes sense because like when you come home from working out or running or something, you just chug a bottle of water. So easy.
Totally.
Whereas like if you're just sitting down in the whatever halfway through the day and you're not dehydrated and you like start drinking water, it's difficult to drink more than a sip at a time.
Yeah. So my body sipped 24 liters of water. It was a lot.
How fast did you lose the weight after?
Oh shit, man! Like, fuck, less than a week.
So it's pretty quick, eh?
Super quick, yeah. It's just like I guess like the same as like beer weight.
Right.
Just like it's like totally gone. Yeah, right when I was about to go into the hospital, like right when I was about to get in, some fucking lady cut her thumb off trying to cut an avocado, and so I had to wait an extra 20 minutes. Because she came in there with a thumb in her fucking, and her friend's like, oh my God, Susie lost her thumb. And they're like, okay, we got to do this or else we can't put it back on. And so she got in front of me and I was like, fuck.
So if your situation is like super bad, do you just jump the line?
I don't think they understand. Like for me, they didn't understand the severity.
Right. But like
I didn't even understand the severity until I was in there, right?
When someone comes in with like a gunshot or something, bleeding, they're probably going in right away.
Totally,
right?
You jump the line. Like this person lost their finger. I think they probably... Because I think a lot of people go to the hospital now. It's just like, I have a tummy ache. It's like, man, it's indigestion. I'm just
feeling sick.
Like totally, right? That's why they ask you, like, one of the first questions they ask you is like, how many times have you been in the hospital in the last 12 months? Like, are you like a hypochondriac or like... But like, there's people who probably go there because they have like a flu. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But like, yeah, people who've been stabbed or car accidents. Like, when I was in the waiting room, I'm almost certain that the man beside me died. I'm pretty sure he died while I was in the ER. Because it was his third time there that week. He just kept on holding his chest and like he was like half conscious, being like, oh my heart. I'm like, and then he got in, but apparently like he was like 90 and that was his third time that week. And like it was kind of like understood he was going to die. But like also like how, like the people who are in there, like how used they are to like seeing death is pretty fucking crazy. Because when I was there, I saw 3 people die. Like in 4 days, I saw people. Like, there was a heart attack. There's a lady who found out she was gonna have cancer, and she had like a couple weeks to live. And there was that guy with the heart thing who died. Anyways, okay, what were we talking about? Let's go back.
I'm really concerned about this medication thing.
What medication?
The whole like the way they give you opiates. They just ask you a question.
They're just like, how much pain you in? You're like, it fucking hurts.
This may change your life.
Okay, take this.
Well, yeah. Have you not noticed that's kind of like how everyone gets started on, or not everyone, but that's how a lot of people get started on drugs. It's always like some construction worker hurt his back, started taking Percocets. That's why there's these fucking class action lawsuits against the people who make Percocets and Oxycontins, because for so long they were told to doctors who, on a side note, should really be fucking figuring this shit out themselves by being physicians, but they were told this isn't like addictive, so they're prescribing them left, right, and center. And now you've built like this like society that's like pretty heavily dependent on opiates. They were prescribing those.
So fucked up, man.
In the States, they were prescribing like hardcore opiates, like mad. And then a couple of years later, we're like, hey guys, we have a fucking problem here. Like Jimmy just killed his mom to get money to buy heroin. Like, how did that happen?
Well, what's changed if your experience is the exact same?
What do you mean what's changed? Like with me?
No, with the system.
Well, I think the amount of pain I was in was pretty like significant. Like they said what I had was like
but similar. They just go by what you say. Like if someone comes in and they sprain their ankle and they're fine.
No. I know.
They just need to.
Well, they knew what was wrong with me, and they knew that like this was going to be insanely painful. Like in theory, not to like piss off any women out there, but like this is comparable to childbirth, which apparently is pretty fucking painful.
Ooh, that's dead. I think that's worse than me saying Polak.
This is what a physician told me. This is what a doctor told me. I'm just I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot
Careful.
the messenger.
Just all I know from experience, 30 years of life has taught
Women
me
hate
never, ever compare anything to childbirth. Ever.
Getting kicked in the nuts doesn't compare to childbirth. But there's no, it's a moot conversation because like no one will ever know the opposite, right? But anyways, I was told that it's comparable to childbirth. It's insanely painful. I was losing consciousness because of my pain.
Hold on. I think this is an important factor. Were you told by a male doctor or a female doctor that is comparable to childbirth?
Male doctor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Your point doesn't.
Void.
Okay, anyway, so.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so as soon as I took those things, I was like, yeah, probably best to never do this again. Because they're pretty fucking awesome. So, yeah, note to self, don't shoot black tar heroin. If that's not, if there's a construction manual to life, don't do heroin would be a good one.
I feel like you've experienced with some drugs.
Like in my youth, yeah, a couple. Yeah. Whoa.
Recreational.
Yeah, recreational drug use, like when I was like in university and stuff. Like nothing crazy, just kind of like what your average university student will do. But
was that the craziest shit?
Yeah.
That's a fucking doctor given drug.
Totally 100%.
Isn't that so crazy?
But like you got to think, like most drugs that university students do, they're more recreational, right?
Yeah.
Like no one's going to a party like, hey, Doug, let's go like smoke crack or meth, you know? Like that conversation never happens. It's like, do you want to smoke a joint?
Yeah.
When it was like illegal, right? Or like, do you want to do mushrooms or something, right? Or like maybe ecstasy. It's like those are things that you do on like a Saturday night when you're young at a party. No one's like, hey man, let's jam our veins up. Like no one does that. And or at least my friends didn't. No one did that. So yeah, like it was without a doubt the craziest drug that I've ever done. And it was prescribed to me by a doctor. Yeah, don't do that. It's a lot.
Do you have any desire to try other stuff?
No, not really. Especially now, not now. Like now I'm in such a good place, like physically and mentally. Like I don't, like I feel happy now. I don't really feel like I have no desire to try anything. I'm happy with like a nice scotch.
What about ayahuasca?
What the fuck is that? Is that the stuff?
Me and Denny are going to Brazil.
Oh my God. Is this the stuff that makes you see the Lord?
Yeah.
With the shamans.
We're going to meet Jesus.
Apparently, you're only supposed to do it if a shaman is present.
Yeah, I think James told me about this, maybe. Or was it you? Or someone told me about this. Yeah, no, I have no desire to do ayahuasca, man. I don't know what to tell you. Holy shit. Yeah, it's just not on my list. But anyways, hospital place that's really, the ER is a crazy place. They kept on trying to put me into beds, like a normal bed in the hospital. I'm like, no, I like it here. It's very, like, it's hectic. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of movement in the ER.
They tried to move you and you said no.
Because they were going to put you in a quieter place, right?
Yeah, like a normal hospital room. Like you go visit someone who's in a hospital room, like they have a normal room. They're not in the ER getting like worked on. I like the ER. It's a fucking crazy place, man. Yeah, it's mental.
What was the craziest thing you saw there?
The older woman made a racial slur towards a white police officer and then punched him in the face. That was pretty crazy. She was like 80. That was pretty intense. Also, like just hearing like that woman beside me was going to die, like the doctor, like the conversation, like how that happens is very, 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 very sobering. Like it's like, hey, this is the situation. You have max 2 months to live. You're at the age where this isn't going to work. I think we should do this, and it might buy you like 2 months. And the woman's staying there with her sister. They're both like 80, like the sweetest old ladies. And like hearing that conversation, it's tough, man. It's fucking tough. And like I know they're 80, and I know like they've had probably great lives. But like just hearing like how final that is, like it's very, very weird to hear.
Isn't it weird to then like relay that back to your life, talking to people with other careers? And like, I take it very seriously when like suggesting things when people are dealing with offers on their homes. It's a lot of money involved.
Totally.
Doctors are communicating to people saying, I suggest this to survive longer. Like that's just next level. It's so crazy. I don't even think about how much pressure that doctor is on when they're thinking of, okay, there's two different strategies here that could prolong this person's life based on their age and their health condition and all this blah, 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 blah. I'm going to suggest this one. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Man, I think like not just doctors, but nurses, like anyone in the medical profession that I deal with in my job, they tend to be really bad with what I do, like numbers, investing, stuff like that. But I think their brains are just totally different.
it's scientific to them, right?
So,
It's
totally,
like
totally.
it's like here's the two options. This
Totally.
one obviously makes sense.
Totally.
right?
Just like when I work with like engineers, they're also kind of like weird to work with, like the way their brain works. It's just a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
Like they don't, it's just different. But yeah, I know I could never like as a kid, I always wanted to be a garbage man. Looking back, probably not the best career choice, but I used to like the idea of it. And number two, I want to be a firefighter. And like now, like when I talk to some people who are firefighters and like some of the stuff they see and like what they, it's a really, like, I don't know if I'm not that type of person to do that. And it's weird because when I was working in West Vancouver, I was moving millions and millions of dollars around all the time. And like that wasn't that big of a deal. But like if I had to like some guy like lost his hand at like some like, I don't know, some tree stumper or like something, I think I'd just fucking pass out. I don't think I could do that. Like some guy's like no hand on the arm, just not for me, man. I have nothing but respect for those people.
100%. I can't deal with blood at all.
And like they do that every day. Like these ER nurses, tough as fuck, man. Like 5'2", 115 pounds, and they're like holding people. Like they are so tough, like so much tougher than you think they are. Holding like big guys down and moving people around. They're tiny people, but they're so tough. I was really impressed by them. In retrospect, I'm happy I went to the hospital. I'm happy things happened how they did. I'm super happy I went through what I went through, but I don't want to do that again.
How's your perspective change now?
My gratitude towards life is like 1,000,000 times more.
What are you appreciating more?
I appreciate relationships more. Like as you probably noticed, like you notice that I'm probably around more since I've been out of the hospital than before I went to the hospital.
What's the next point?
If you haven't noticed that, you can tell me that. But like my family would have said
I see you all the time.
No, I know.
It's
You're
not
one person.
changed.
Yeah, no. So like my family would say like they see me a lot more. Like relationships have changed the most. You know, I want to be around people that I love a lot more. Also like the way I just see like just like the natural world is like I'm like so blown away by like just like like nature's like I always love nature, but now it really blows my mind.
That's interesting for you to say because you've always been so fascinated by learning shit about nature.
I know I fucking
right?
love nature, man.
Like I'll call Alex on a Thursday evening at 7:13 p.m. Like, hey buddy, what are you up to? He's like, oh, just watching this documentary on pelicans.
Yeah, it's true.
What?
I love that shit, man. I find it. I just think it's so crazy. Like, what's a pelican up to? Like, where is he? What's he doing? And like now, like when I go for walks and stuff with my dog, like I'll look at like I'll just stop and like just look at like something and be like, that is really incredible how that works. So I think the biggest thing that has changed since I've been out of the hospital is just unlimited gratitude for everything, even shitty stuff. I am kind of grateful for. Like I'm sitting there having like a shitty meal, I'm just like, fuck, this is not that bad. Better than IV juice, you know.
It's funny when it's funny when people get to that level of entitlement in their world that they will complain about food.
Dude,
I don't know when the last
against
time
way crazier shit than food. People complain about
when was the last
everything.
time you complained about a meal though? Like even if something is mediocre, just like whatever, it was okay.
Dude, people complain about things that are like people will be waiting in line for something amazing and they'll complain about the line that they paid. You know, like it's just that's just a bad strategy because like I wish those people could kind of have those sobering moments just for a second, you know, just to see like, are these things really that big of a deal? Like what, you missed your SkyTrain, you're going to catch the next one in 3 minutes? Are you really going to throw a temper tantrum and look like a fucking idiot in front of everyone? Like just chill out. Like there's so much bigger problems in the world. Like I have a glass half full attitude, but the world has some shitty stuff in it, like really bad stuff. And like people who complain about things or gossip about things, I have no time for that shit. It's just such like negativity loses every single time. And the only loser is the negative person.
Why is that our initial reaction though? Have you caught yourself recently, or can you think of an experience where you like your initial reaction was something very negative that we would talk about as like the majority of people would think this, but then you like altered your thought process?
I would
The
say
thing I think about on like a day-to-day basis is like traffic and like someone cutting you off or like just traffic in general. Being like, this is fucking shitty.
I think of people in the like the service industry, like some cashier at Safeway getting treated like shit by some person trying to buy, I don't know, a fillet or something. Like, why is projecting that much negative onto this person who's just trying to make it through the day? Or like some gas station attendant or someone who's just, someone at Tim Hortons, new to Canada, fucking put bacon on instead of the sausage, and you're going to sit there and chew them out for 5 minutes? So what? They put bacon on instead of the sausage. Can we all just chill the fuck out? Like, everyone just relax for
That's
1
so
second,
true. Yeah.
go back and be like, hey, can I have a new one? They'll be like, yeah, of course, I'm sorry. But just sit there and make that person feel small, I think it's so dumb. What does that do for you to make that person, just came from Thailand, supporting her family. She fucked up your order, and you're gonna sit there and just yell at her? I think it's honestly very close to being mentally insane, like clinically insane to do that. There's my piece. That's how I feel.
I think the people that like complain in the first place have like something negative in their life, right? Like there's probably something that they're complaining about.
100%.
And like it's such a circle of never ending hate almost, right? Because then you complain, you treat these people like shit, and then people probably treat you like shit because you just seem like that asshole.
Dude,
and it never
what's
ends.
crazy about that though is that like you're right. There's that. It's called I like to call it like a shit slide. Like shit trickles down, right?
Yeah.
Like think of a corporation.
Right.
Like the CEO screams at this guy, screams at the manager, screams at the employees. It just trickles down. But it's fucking crazy how positivity does that 10 times. Like if you smile and talk to people, their day becomes so much better. They're gonna go do the thing. Like there's so many people trying to change the world by like protesting, posting things on social media, and they think that they're doing shit all. Like just go open a door for someone.
They make things worse.
Yeah,
It's making things worse. Why not? Like when Carl said it's just like a continuous cycle of negativity. Like let's say I go into a Tim Hortons and I treat that woman poorly. Then she goes home and she's in a bad mood, so she treats her husband poorly. And then he goes to work the next day and whatever. Why not be that one stop in the fucking cycle? Why not be that one person that is just like over the top positive?
Totally. I think there are people like that, and those people deserve all they're heroes. Because what they're doing is they take that negativity, they filter it, like those they just filter that negativity and they throw positivity to the world. And that
You just
positivity,
think about it differently, right?
yeah, the positivity is like so contagious. Like you can sit there, like I've seen people at bus stops, like they feel like they're shit. It's rainy, it's cold, you're about to get on a fucking bus, which sucks. And like they'll start talking to the person beside them, and you'll start to see like their manner, like they'll start smiling.
Totally.
Maybe they'll laugh, and then you see them get on, and like there's just their whole, like their shoulders are like they just feel better about themselves. And like that positivity, it's so it moves throughout society so easily, so much better than negativity. But it feels like negativity is almost like the easier thing to resort to.
So I was thinking about this recently because we talk about it on a few different podcasts, and I feel like the negative reaction is instinctual. It happens automatically. So if someone cuts you off in traffic, you're like, fuck that guy. Whereas you have to consciously reframe your mind to be like, oh shit, maybe he's in a hurry. Maybe his wife just called him and said, fuck you, I'm packing my bags. Like, you never know what the hell happened to him, right?
Or maybe that guy's just an asshole, and that's okay too. Should it
But
affect
why
your
is
life?
he that? That's what I'm thinking. Like, my mind has almost shifted now to be like, why is he an asshole?
I think the next step for your mind is to be like, it doesn't matter why he's an asshole, but in no way, like I feel bad for people like that they have to live like that. I'm more like,
I think we're talking about the same thing, though.
maybe
we're just saying different words. I think it's the same thing.
yeah, like I feel bad for that person, but if that makes you be an asshole to the next person you see, like I think that's
No. I'm thinking about it like I'm trying to understand. I want to understand. I want to understand why. Use that cutting off example. Why did that guy cut me off?
Yeah,
he's in a hurry for something. What is he in a hurry for? Maybe his wife is fucking in the delivery room having a baby and he's fucking rushing to the hospital. I can understand, like, geez,
maybe
let
there
me
is no
carve a
reason.
path for this guy and get him there faster.
What
right?
happens if there is no reason though? What happens if the guy's just an asshole? Is that's still okay?
No,
though,
but there's a reason for being an asshole. I don't think
okay.
people are born assholes.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a learned behavior.
Maybe. Yeah, I think people think sometimes they get ahead by that, like that.
But that came from somewhere. That came from like maybe some crazy dominant male figure in his life saying that you need to be a prick to get ahead, you know?
This is why I ask people so many questions. I find humans so fascinating. Like, why do people?
Because everyone's story is so different.
but just humans in general and their nature is so crazy. Like someone will sit there and go to like they'll go to a market, right? Like a farmer's market or something. And they'll, someone who's like a local person, they're selling soap and they'll grind with this person over 50 cents, right? For this person who's just selling soap. And then that very night, they'll go to Cactus Club and spend $100 and tip the waiter $20 and feel totally normal without even realizing that 50 cents would have gone so much further to this first person than to this, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
100%.
how do people think like that? But anyways, this all wraps down to, it comes down to what I said about wraps into what I said about self-awareness. Being self-aware. Like, you got to be aware of who you are and like how you think. And I think that's like super important. I think if there's one thing that you can teach someone to better their lives is to be self-aware and to be gracious. Those two things, you're giving those person they have all the tools they need to have like a really good life. I'm obviously very passionate about this. I feel very strongly that those are the two things that equal happiness.
I love those two things, man. I love talking about them too. I love hearing people's different perceptions of those two things. Because whenever you talk about self-awareness, especially people our age, maybe when you're like 50, 60, you have a different perspective on it. But when people our age always say, oh yeah, I'm super self-aware. I know who I am. I love my career, blah, 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 blah. But the majority of people seem maybe not on the surface, but have actions towards being unhappy, right? Like are fucking obsessed with Friday afternoon because they get off work and get shit-faced on Saturday,
Totally. But, I know people like that.
But during the week, like, oh my God, my job is so great. It's so fun. Oh my God.
Well, I know people who just fucking hate their lives. They hate their jobs and they just do it.
But they don't admit that.
No, I know people who full up admit it. Like they like just trying. They're like,
that's being more self-aware.
Totally. Like they're just trying to make it to the finish line. You know what I mean? Like they're just trying to get to Friday so they can get blackout drunk, forget about everything that happened that shit week, spend the whole Saturday hungover, go for a hike on Sunday, and start it all over again. Like it's crazy. It is craziness. It really is. But yeah, that's why I think you just try to make other people's lives as good as you can.
The balance is challenging though. Like, and you look for examples of who's doing it well, and you have no idea when you like pull yourself out of it and understand you have no idea what that person is going through behind the scenes. It's difficult to like find an example of like who is balancing this whole crazy fucking life thing well. Who's balancing their mortgage with their kid, with their spouse, with their friends, with their family? Like,
it's hard without context, but I think we can all, like, whether it's me or you or anyone listening, can look at someone who they can think of someone, like they can picture them in their head of someone who they think is doing this pretty well.
I know, but
whether they are or not,
when you actually pull apart that person that you think is doing it well, are they really doing it well? Or is it just this projection that they're putting out there? I think that's a challenge. And that's the thing that I'm thinking about is just like, I don't know what anyone is fucking doing. So I just need to do the things that like make me smile, make me happy, right?
Yeah, I think that no one really has life mastered, but I think that some people have like the bases covered and they're doing a pretty good job. Like they're...
But how do you know who those people are?
Why is it important to know who those people are? Let them just like those...
We're talking about examples. We're talking about like...
Well, I don't know. Like I can think of people in my family, for example, who I think I know well, and I think like I'm really proud of like how they're living their lives, you know?
But when people... I'm not saying anyone in your family. I'm saying like...
No, I'm just saying I'm sure you could have someone that you
when
know.
You hear of like a friend or like a family member or like a friend's family member who commits suicide or like overdoses on drugs or whatever.
That's no
The
good.
first thing those people always say is they seemed so happy. So the point I'm trying to make is like, how do you decipher from the people who seem really happy to who are really happy?
I don't know, man. Ask a priest. I have no idea.
Well, that's the fucking difficult part, right? So that's why in my own head, I'm just like, I can't really worry about whether people are doing it right or wrong or different than me or whatever. Just do the things that, whether it's work or family or friends or the balance between all three of those things, do the things that like will make you go to sleep at night and say, I had a fucking great day. And that made me happy. I took 45 minutes off to go for a walk in the park and like, I really enjoyed that, so I need to do that more, or like whatever that shit is.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing that changed kind of when I got out of the hospital was my optimism towards the future. Being at the end of the day and being excited for tomorrow, that's also a new feeling. So I think that ties into what you were saying about enjoying today, and like that wraps into kind of just like looking forward to tomorrow. Like really looking forward to waking up is a really good feeling. Like really like genuinely being like, holy shit. Like if every day feels like Christmas Eve, that's awesome. That is such a good way to live your life. Like you just cannot wait for the shit that's going to happen tomorrow. That's awesome. Like yesterday, I knew I was coming on this podcast today. I was like, I cannot wait to get in front of that microphone with Carl and Denny, have some scotch. I knew I was going to have to do a lot of work today. I was going to hang with Archie. Went to my parents' house. I ate some of their food. I'm like, this is going to be a great day. You know what? It's going to be a great night after this too. I'm going to go eat more of their food. Can't wait.
How do we share this?
How do you share positivity or?
Yeah, the optimism, the like, because sometimes, for me anyway, sometimes I feel like people aren't wanting to hear it.
Because I think it's because they think it's bullshit. I think they think it's just like when you turn on the TV on Sunday morning and they see that healer hitting all those people in the head. You're healed. You're healed. I think that's what they think it's like. You know, like, because they just don't understand. Like, I've never been healed by one of those people, but, you know, the blind guy all of a sudden is fucking reading a textbook. Like, it's like, holy shit, that's amazing. But I think that's how negative people see positivity. Like, it's not real type thing. But I think just going back to the people who like protest, complain on social media, like to try to make a difference. I understand people can't see my air quotations if they're listening to this, but those same people who are doing that, if you go out and you do shit like hold someone's bags for them when they're walking their groceries to the car, help an old lady cross the street, open the door for someone, talk to someone who's just sitting there by themselves, like you make such a bigger impact on the world than complaining about how things could have been. Like the way to make an impact is to just go out there and do one good thing every day. It just goes, it's like it webs out. It's like exponential. One turns into 2 to 4 to 8 to, you know what I mean? Like it just spreads out. I love it. I love it.
Do you consciously try to do that?
Yes, I do. Every day.
How?
Just like, I literally will sometimes just go out just to be like, hey, I got to do something good. So whether that's just, like, I will literally go to Red Apple on Hastings and just sit there and just talk to like the cashiers. I give Dawn.
You will leave your house and say that. I need to go out and do something good.
I will literally go and be like, I need to just do something. And it might be like, hey, I got to go get some tomatoes because I'm going to make myself a sandwich. And be like, on the way, like, let's just try to do like one good thing. That's it. It's super simple and it makes more of an impact than what 90% of the people are doing by trying to make an impact. Just doing good shit.
I try to make my day-to-day interactions that are super normal for 95% of us that live in Greater Vancouver more enjoyable for the people involved. Like a Starbucks visit. Walk in the door. They're like, hey, how are you? What can I get you? Most people are just like, I'll take a fucking grande cappuccino, caramelized, half sweet, half fat, not that hot, but extra hot at the end, latte.
The old double pump.
And the person behind the counter is just like trying to write it all down. Why not just walk in the door and be like, hey, how are you? Oh my gosh, such a great day today. I love Sundays. Sundays are my favorite day. And the person behind the counter is like, you're right. I love Sundays too.
You don't want to be like artificial about it. Like you don't want to be like those people who are like on like something that makes them like super like too over the top, but like just being involved and like caring about other people. And I think, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that the people who get the most happiness and like reciprocation are the people kind of on the higher end of society. So like, for example, you might go to an appointment with a professional and you might be more cordial and respectful of that person than if you're going to an appointment with a car mechanic or like not even car mechanic, but someone like, you know what I mean? Someone who is like more like blue collar. I don't think they get treated as well as the people who are more white collar. So I think to add on to your point, treating people in the service industry, like,
why not every fucking interaction though?
That's what I'm saying. But I feel like humans in general tend to only respect and be cordial towards the people kind of on the upper echelons of society, where there's like this whole lot of people in the lower echelons that get treated like shit every single day. And that's what I think is kind of like, you have to be more conscious. Like, would I talk to my mom like this? Would I talk to my accountant like this? or am I treating this person like a piece of shit to try to feel like I'm better than this person? Because I feel like that's what a lot of people do.
Why not I don't know. I feel like names are important. So like,
Totally.
let's say you live in an old house and you have mice in your house and there's an exterminator coming to take mice out of your house.
I think they just kill them, but yeah.
Or kill the mice that are running around your house.
Stuart Little better get his shit together.
Anyway.
I love Stuart
I feel like,
Little.
why isn't that interaction like, hey, James or Jimmy or like whatever the hell your name is? What's going on? It's Friday afternoon. What do you have to do this weekend? Oh, all right, great. Yeah, I got a fucking problem down here. There's a few mice running around. Can you help me out?
One thing I try to do is always offer someone a drink. So like if like I had some people doing my
100%.
siding on my apartment. So this dude is like, it's in the middle of summer. He's on my balcony.
Yeah.
Power washing. I just said like, hey man, do you want to like take like 15 minutes? Like I got a cold beer if you just want to like chill out for a bit. And they usually say no, but just like that offer I think goes a long way.
100%.
You probably have the cleanest deck now too.
Totally. Like just, yeah, treat people well, man. Like I always try to, another thing I was talking to a friend the other day about like those traffic people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, just give them a little wave, a little smile, a little, how you doing, Sally, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do you have to
It's
be like...
so interesting. They fucking always smile. The people with the
Always.
stop,
Yeah.
what do you call it? Flaggers?
Flaggers, yeah.
Stop slow.
Totally. And
Yeah.
like, but I think it's because they're used to being treated like shit, kind of. Like,
But as you drive by them, if you like wave or smile, they always smile back.
it's because they have to deal with assholes all the time being like, yo, I'm late for my appointment. Why do I have to listen to your stupid stop?
Or just thousands of cars go by and just another pylon, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Breathing exhaust all day, like shit. Like those people deserve respect. Everyone deserves respect. And like I think that I would have been like the last person to say this a couple years ago, but like my mindset has really changed. I think I've always loved people, but I didn't always think I had that respect for everyone that I have now. Because like shit is hard for everyone. Everyone has shit they deal with. There's no one who has a perfect life. But they still deserve like some sort of like just basic human decency.
Do you feel like you have value to offer people?
Mm-hmm. I do. I think
I'm
that
glad you do because you have a lot.
I think so. I think that I've had it pretty good, but I still don't take things for granted. And I think that showing people that is important. Like no matter where you are in your life, to really appreciate is really important. Because things will change. Like sometimes you're like on the top and sometimes you're on the bottom. Like you're never going to be on the top all the time. And like the top is subjective, but what I'm trying to say is like it's easy to laugh and be happy when things are going great, but you also have to kind of enjoy the struggle to get there.
It's interesting to look at people who have passed away and just see what people who knew them say about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like Steve Jobs is an example. Billionaire. I don't know how much money do you have. A lot?
Yeah, billions
Shit ton?
and billions. Yeah.
A lot. Everyone, like a lot of people that knew him or worked for him or were in business with him said he was an asshole. Said you treat people like shit. Whereas like you move over to Elon Musk and people are just like, this guy is on a different planet. He's way smarter than everyone. He's not really concerned about the money, even though he's a billionaire. He's not really concerned. He just wants to make the planet better. He's like, I want to build tunnels. I want to send these fucking rockets into space.
That guy's
He just wants to make the world better.
That guy's next level. Yeah, like
Next level.
I think.
But comparing like two billionaires like that, it's kind of interesting. Everyone's gonna die. Doesn't matter how much money you have.
I think compassion goes a long way.
So
with how you remember
crazy,
compassion,
man.
like how you treat other people is really important. And like if you're measuring yourself with how much money you have, you're probably a piece of shit.
That's a losing formula.
Yeah,
for
you're
sure.
probably a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
If you're measuring yourself on like really like complex things, like how your relationships are, and you shouldn't even be measuring yourself. You should just be enjoying yourself. But if you are measuring yourself by how much money you have, like you got to reevaluate your shit.
If you take pleasure in your bank account versus pleasure in how much value you add to people with all the experience and stuff that you've gone through, I think that's the difference.
Totally. And I don't want to come from a place of like, I realize we've had pretty good lives, and I don't want to come from a place of privilege, but I do think that's important to like really like understand that. Like you gotta like, man, those two building blocks, money's on top of those somewhere on that list.
Mm-hmm.
For like the happiness scale, utility, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But those two, like that gratitude, self-awareness, that is like that's the basis of it. Everything else, cars, like all that shit, that's somewhere down the line. even though I do like a nice car. Actually, I'm thinking of getting a new car, as a matter of fact.
What do you think of getting?
You know what? I like, I'm not a huge car dude. Like, I'm not like one of those guys who takes like a lot of pride in their car, but I'm thinking of getting a little Mazda 3. Fuel efficient, high safety rating.
Lease?
I'm thinking of leasing.
Used?
I'm thinking of leasing, yeah. Brand new lease. Just mostly being used for work, so I can probably write off the shit out of that. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I love the idea of fuel efficiency. I really like the idea of going
Why
along.
not electric?
Because I want something with a bit of balls. Like, I don't want to like be like puttering around. Like, I want to.
I test
Honestly, like,
drove.
some of the cars now today, like a Mazda 3, you can go to Calgary and back on a tank of gas. Like, how do you do that?
I test drove a Model 3.
Oh,
few
yeah,
months
that's
ago.
next level, yeah.
Yeah, but it's 50 grand. It's like a fancy
Mazda 3. Yeah.
Mazda 3. What's a Mazda 3 start at? 30?
I don't know. I'm looking at the lease payments.
I'm just guessing. I don't know. Anyway, Tesla Model 3 start at 50 grand. And they are fucking fast, man.
Yeah, but that's, yeah.
They're like
that's
2
next level.
times as fast as my SUV right now.
Well, that's pretty fast.
It's dumb. The acceleration doesn't make sense. You hit the gas pedal and you get sucked back in the seat. It doesn't make any, physics don't make sense.
Sometimes I feel with my car now, I should just cut a plate beneath my feet and just Flintstone the shit Flintstone the shit out of that car, because it is no nothing, man.
Especially in the snow.
Yeah, totally. It's so bad on gas. It's got no power. I'm like, why aren't I just pushing this thing around? Wilma, no, but seriously, yeah, I need to get a new car. What do you got written down there? I'm curious.
Nothing.
You got some notes
I
there.
covered it all. I wrote, why not be the person to stop the cycle? When Carl was talking about negativity cycle.
We discussed that, yeah.
I wrote, you have so much value to give to people. How can you share it? We kind of touched on that quickly.
Well, like what we're doing right now is a good example, to be honest with you. Like, this is a way of expressing some sort of value that I may or may not have. Communication, just communicating value, communicating, like, and again, who the hell I'm not preaching. I'm just saying, like, kind of.
I know that's the awkward part always with like the podcast or anything, or sharing like something that you hold really important, but sounds kind of arrogant.
Totally. Like who
what's
the hell?
The fine line?
Who the hell am I to look at someone else and be like, don't do drugs because they're kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Be happy. Don't be a prick. Like, that's not my position. I'm just saying it's like maybe like just like being a bit happier will maybe help other people understand that.
I just think the more communication, the better.
Totally.
The more conversations like this, like with JoJo.
JoJo Mason? Am I the smallest celebrity to be on this podcast? Am I the least famous person to be on this podcast?
No one's famous. Everyone's just trying to do shit.
What do you mean? Todd Talbot was on this podcast.
That's the name of the fucking podcast, is Zero to Here.
Todd's
Everyone's
famous.
just trying to get somewhere. Everyone's story is different, man.
JoJo's famous.
You know what great line I came up with the other day? I think it works across business avenues. Everyone's real estate journey is different.
You should put that on a business card.
I want to help you along yours.
Okay, that's a bit corny, actually.
I know, it's super corny.
That's pretty bad.
But it's true. Like, everyone's journey in life, everyone's journey is so different. Your journey, like growing up and all the shit that you go through, and like this recent thing in September that you go through, like all your experience amounts to like a different level of knowledge than mine, than Carl's, than whoever's.
Totally. And that's why I think it's important to surround yourself with good people who have different experiences.
But that's, I think, the exciting part about sharing is just, I don't like the word advice. Advice is like, I'm telling you to do something. Whereas like, I like the word experience. I like sharing things that have happened to me and the ways that I got through them. And if you pull something out of that, phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to say like, Alex, with your business, with your mortgage broker business, you should do this. I'd rather just be like, well, I tried these 3 things. I really like this. It worked for me. This reason why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think advice, though, is kind of what you're like. Advice is supposed to be like advise, is to like suggest almost. It's not like you're telling someone what to do. Maybe we're getting caught in the phenomics.
I feel like when people receive advice, they're like, oh shit, I need to do that. Whereas if you just talk about yourself, like what you've gone through and your experience with business or a client interaction or whatever it is, I feel like it's more just like broad and people can pull out different things that they like about it. Oh, I like how he said that. I would, for my personality, I'd adjust it to work into my business.
I agree, but we have to understand about that though. Like, not to disagree with you, but
You can disagree.
what I like, you have to be kind of a stronger person mentally to listen to someone who's more accomplished than you and change that strategy. Because most people will listen to someone like, who's that guy who talks to all the Walmart employees?
But that's your definition of
Tony
accomplished.
Robbins. You know, like everyone just listens to that. They're like, okay, this is like the architect for how to do it.
I can't stand that guy.
Well, I'm just saying. Okay,
Like-
you like Gary Vee. When you listen to Gary Vee, like you have to kind of cut and paste to yourself. You can't just.
But
be
I
like,
don't blindly follow Gary Vee. I like some of the points
totally.
that he makes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And
You can't like. It takes a bit of a stronger person mentally to just not, when someone gives them advice, to just not just blindly follow that, especially if that person is significantly more successful than you are.
You have to understand like where and what the person is giving you to. Like a Tony Robbins to me is a production. It's a business, right?
Yeah.
He
course.
charges fucking thousands of dollars for people to sit in an auditorium and for him to motivate them, right?
There's so
Like,
many
it's
people like that.
stupid.
Yeah. Totally.
I don't know. I can't really stand that guy, to be honest.
Okay, so
I
Danny
can't even
doesn't like
listen to
Tony
him.
Robbins. Yeah.
It's just like so fake. Everything is fake.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying is like, if you are to listen to someone who's telling you what to do, I'm thinking you
It's
need
not
to.
listening, but like that's what the point I'm trying to get across is like have conversations with lots of people and pull out the things that you think can work well for you. Right? Like there's been conversations on this podcast where there's things I've never thought about before and I'm like, "Oh my God, I think that would work super good in my business and that would really suit my personality and whatever, provide more value, help me grow the business, help whatever."
Mhm.
Like Ty is a great example. It gave me like 3 things that I am literally doing weekly now that are so much better than the way I was doing it before. But I just never even thought about them.
Oh, Ty.
Coursey.
Yeah, Coursey. Yeah.
But other things in his business that work really well for him wouldn't suit me and my personality.
Yes, you just got to pick and choose what you like.
You have to be self-aware.
That's what I'm saying, man. Everything comes down to these 2 things. It all comes down to that at the end of the day. Seriously, I've run through a million situations in my head. It comes down to gratitude and self-awareness. Every single one of them. You have those, you will be okay. I wish I could just fucking tattoo this on everyone, right on their heart. Gratitude, self-awareness. They see that every day.
I know, but when people hear that, it's intimidating. It's like, where do I even start with this? I think I know who I am. I want to know who I am. I'm doing things that I think I like. Like, how do I know I'm not as happy as I want to be? How do I know where to go from here kind of thing? It's really easy to say you need to be self-aware. What does that mean to people? What does that mean to a normal person who's working a 9 to 5, who is like, meh, it's okay. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but like it pays the bills and it, feeds my daughter.
Man, there's nothing wrong with 9 to 5. Like, seriously.
There's nothing wrong with it. But like when they listen to shit like this and people who like maybe are a little bit more outgoing than them or a little bit more excited about their career and their day-to-day than they are, and we're saying self-awareness, blah, blah, blah. Like you need to be self-aware. Like Gary Vee is a fucking prime example of this. A lot of people listen to him and love him. A lot of people listen to him and are like, well, like you're not giving any practical advice. You're saying self-awareness. What the fuck does that mean? How do you get there? How do you go from like, whatever, going back to service industry? How do you go from being a waitress who has a daughter who is literally just scraping by to pay the bills?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not terrible. I'm surviving, but it's not like everything I want it to be and more.
Well, I don't think it
What
has
the
to
hell is self-awareness?
I don't think necessarily has to be all to do with your career, even though it's a big part of your life. I think self-awareness can come like, you're like somebody who works 9 to 5, they're working 8 hours a day. There's a lot of time that they're alive and they're doing things where they can be enjoying their life. Sorry. There's a lot of time in their life where they can be enjoying themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily have to be career oriented, but obviously enjoying the 8 hours you spend every day working would be ideal. I think
Isn't that the key though? Is like finding something that is enjoyment that also is an income source.
True, but dude, there's always gonna be there's gonna be jobs there's gonna be shitty jobs in the world.
100%.
Straight up. Someone's gonna have to do them and they're not gonna like it. And I think that self-awareness, to answer your question, it looks very different to everyone. So what it looks like to me, to you, it's very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm saying to someone to be self-aware, it's not to be like me or to be like you or to be like Carl. It's to be like their own version of that. And honestly, part of it, I think, is just thinking that you're self-aware and like understanding yourself and believing that you understand yourself, which is like totally subjective in its own sense. Sorry that got so deep there, but
no, but
that
also
makes sense?
100%, because it's also being aware that you're unhappy in a situation, right?
Yeah,
like if something pisses you off, rather than being like, oh, it's not that bad, whatever, enjoying the experience of being disappointed or upset or annoyed and saying, okay, this really pisses me off. I need to adjust these things in my life to not let that happen all that often.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so tough because earlier you threw out the word privilege and that shit's always stuck with me. Like it always sticks with me. Like what I'm saying is it coming from a place of privilege? Because like, how can you look at someone who has it really, really, really bad and say, hey man, just smile, you know? Like,
yeah.
if I was that person, I'd be like, fuck you, you know? But I think you got to start somewhere, man. You got to start somewhere with something. If you're complaining all the time that shit sucks, either change it or shut up. That's kind of a hard way of saying it. I'm trying not to come from that place of privilege, but like, unless you're forced to do something, like you're forced to do this, you can always change things. You can change your job. You can change who you hang around with. Like the easiest way to be just marginally happier immediately is to stop hanging out with assholes. Right away, you'll be happier. If you're hanging around with people who like gossip and talk shit and do all these bad, like just negative people, you're gonna feel like an asshole. It's inevitable. No matter if you are the biggest ray of sunshine, if you're hanging around all those dark clouds, it's gonna feel shitty, man. It's gonna feel shitty. So just cut that shit out and you're gonna be okay. Wow, I sound like I'm preaching. You know what? Maybe I am. I think I am preaching. I think I like it. I like this platform. Positivity, my friend.
Starting tomorrow, Alex D'Angelo podcast.
It's like how to not hate your life. Yeah. So like for me, the biggest thing was my support network, like being my family, my friends. No matter how bad shit was, I knew I always had like this like big net below me to just prop me back up no matter how bad I messed up in my life. And I think like having a support network and like being surrounded by good, positive people, that is a great step towards like these goals we're talking about of like gratitude and self-awareness.
It's interesting because when you understand that perspective of, you know, this idea of you are the 5 people that you hang around with, or you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with or whatever. When you start understanding that and then like auditing your circle, then you also want to hold yourself to a higher standard for you being part of someone else's circle.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. You don't want to get cut from someone else's circle because you're complaining they didn't put enough cream cheese on your bagel that morning. I totally get it. Because then someone who's better than you is going to be like, what's with this guy? Just a little bit of cream cheese, you know? Yeah. I totally get that. Yeah, you got to hold yourself. Yeah, man, good people got to hold each other accountable for being good people. And it can't be superficial. It can't be fake. You can't
It's so easy to...
Because if it's fake, you see through that shit. Yeah, right away. Like if someone's like fakely like optimistic or positive, it's just you just gotta like want the best for other people first. If you are selflessness is important. That's huge. If that will come back to you as being a good person, I think.
I feel like round 2 is gonna happen fairly soon. Carl, was that the worst or the best podcast you've ever heard?
That was really good. I was engaging the whole time. You guys covered a lot of good stuff.
I feel like we talked a lot about happiness.
Alex is an interesting guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like because you are super passionate about this and it's very evident and obvious.
Passionate.
So once you get going, you're just being yourself and it's just so natural. And I think it's the easiest way to listen to it.
100%.
I liked it.
Does this mean green light?
Topics for episode 2 with Alex D'Angelo that we didn't cover today. Cooking.
Oh, cooking is such a big part of I can't believe we didn't. Fuck, it's like my favorite thing to do in the whole world.
Records.
Oh, vinyl. It just sounds better.
Alex once told me, this is going to be amazing. Alex once told me he has a weekly budget that he spends on records.
Because
There's a record store on Hastings, right?
Yeah, Hooked on Fano. Shout out to Hooked on Fano.
And he doesn't go there with a wallet. He goes there with $100 bill.
Totally.
Because if he went there with a credit card, he'd spend way too much money.
Buddy, you could spend $1,000 there so easily.
Jeez.
And it's the same with cooking. You go to like a kitchen store.
Oh yeah.
Like you can easily
man.
like look at a knife. It's like $300. But you justify it. It's like, think of all the onions I can cut. Like it just makes no sense outside that situation. But you got to go in there with a plan, man. Yeah. Yeah. I love to talk about records. I love to talk about cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to talk about Archibald, but no one really gives a shit about Archibald. But I love Archibald.
You can turn that into something else, though.
Okay, yeah.
It's more just like, it's the same shit, man. Like finding shit that makes you happy. Doesn't matter if it's golf or like taking your dog for a walk or like friends that you have or like this specific hobbies like cooking or art or vinyl. Anything.
I feel like a lot of your podcasts, though, are more people, like the discussions are more people about building a business. Hence the name Zero to Hero. Is that right?
I don't think so.
Not anymore?
It's adjusted. I'd
Okay.
say the first 40 were like that or were more.
'Cause we didn't talk
me
at all
steering.
about like my business either. But it's
But
not
I
that
think
interesting.
Businesses are built around people. And if you're not a well-rounded person, the business is going to be difficult to
Maintain.
to
Yeah.
grow,
Yeah.
man.
I agree. Totally.
Like, I'm so obsessed with the fact that people work with people that they enjoy being around.
if they're smart people, that's what they'll do.
Most people,
Yeah.
90% of people likely work with people that they enjoy being around.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether it's a car mechanic or like a person that makes their cupcakes or like a deli person that they go to. Like if you have a good
How
relationship
many
with,
cupcakes are you eating that you have a person that makes your cupcakes?
I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there.
A baker?
Sure.
Okay.
If you go to a deli and the person behind the counter is an asshole, you're probably going to go to a different deli. If you go to a deli and the person is the most charismatic, enjoyable person, and you have a 5-minute conversation with them that is very enjoyable, and they ask you about your kids and blah, 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 you're going to go back there.
I agree.
Every fucking time you want meat, you're going back there.
Totally agree. We're on the same
Business
page.
revolves around people and relationships. 100,000%.
This whole podcast started about our love for people, and I think it should finish on our love for people. It's called written down.
Alex, you know I love you.
Love you too, buddy, man. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm happy
That was a
to
lot
be
of
here.
fun.
Thanks, man.
For whatever reason, you put a mic in front of someone and it just goes much deeper than you think it's going to go.
I don't know. I feel like we have conversations like this more often than you think, but maybe not so in such like a confined, like structured type. No, I think we talk about this like stuff like this quite often.
Yeah, I feel like
Probably more often than most people.
They're more
do.
specific.
Yeah. Cool, man.
We'll do it again soon.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Cool.